my gosh, Hannah's here. Hi, Hannah. Okay, so I got something mildly exciting to say. Very mild. But basically, the stream is on a low latency, a lower latency, lag. So hopefully our interactions, hopefully it won't be too much, struggle on your end to stream it. If it is, I would suggest just turning down the quality maybe or something, but it shouldn't affect the audio too much. But it should be, our interactions should be a little bit more real time as opposed to like sort of like 20-second delays, you know what I mean, between saying what's up and all that good stuff. And Sheena, Bud, welcome back for 10 months in the Butter Sock Cult. Woohoo! Oh, you notice I responded hella fast. Okay, well, if it's hella fast, that's good. Your audio's good with mic to use. Well, right now you're hearing me through a Neumann TLM. Okay, perfect, Hannah. That's good to hear. I mean, and if it's not causing any issues on your guys' end as far as streaming goes, then I'll probably be doing low latency from here on out. All right, good to hear. Because, like suggested on like Twitch and stuff is like an upload speed of at least like 8 to 10 megabits per second. But my upload speed I think is like somewhere in the 30s, which is pretty solid. I mean, I pay for it because I want good upload, but it's crazy because I got friends who have like casual internet down in Florida and their upload speed's like 50 or 60. David De La Rosa, welcome back for 14 months in the Buttersuck Cult. Says, thank you for making my 14 months awesome. Thank you, David. Always appreciate your support and your kind attitude. Love to have you here. Love to have all you guys here. Sephora, first stream. It's so weird hearing your voice live. I know, right? A little bit different. A little bit of a change up. And Gizzy with the 5 says the government is hiding the monkey man. We must release him, friends. We have to go to every animal testing facility till we find Monkey Man. He is fucking out there. And we must save our king. The Monkey King! Beast Kid. With the 2, there it is. I like messed up for a second. What's good? Joel Miller? Not quite, but good guess. It is Miller time though. Heel. Broken Nero. With a 1 Canadian. Thank you. Good to see you. Yeah, does everyone else have some pretty good sort of like lag? You got 1 gigabyte internet somehow. That's what I have for download speed. It's like, I don't know, like 1100 megabits, even though their marketing ploys are so stupid. But it's just weird whenever you go to other places and theirs is like so fucking fast. And it's just like casual. But there's really not a lot of like competition for internet shit in Pennsylvania. It kind of blows. You were so busy watching One Piece, you missed the stream. I guess that means it's real. It's real. Canada for Canadians. You just melted a bowl in the microwave. F in the chat for that. Rest in peace, microwavable bowl. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about plastics. You guys know anything about plastics? Because apparently, like, at least once a week in our diet, I don't know, there's some study out of Australia, but we were consuming like upwards of a credit card size amount of like plastic through like water bottles and microwaving stuff in plastic containers in the microwave and in our tap water supply. Yeah, microplastics and shit like that. And it apparently has some not so good effects on us as humans. Beast Kid with the 2 says, it was Joel from The Last of Us I called you. Oh, okay. See, I never played that game. I knew that he was Joel, but I didn't know his last name was Milhar. I did see that they made a Last of Us show. I haven't watched it, but I was curious if it was good. Kara Flanders Smith, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you so much. And for anybody who hasn't check it out, the Krampus story on the bonus content, please be sure to do so. And check out everything over there if you haven't. My boyfriend consumes his credit card a week. Yeah, I was going to say, somebody left like a funny comment. They're like, girls destroy credit cards weekly, and somehow that affects male health more so. I was like, that's some straight up Flintstones humor right there. I like it. Oh wait, I heard a wow. Hey, Papino Dolce with the 5 says, yo, Joel, what's up? Hope your holiday season went as well as you would have liked. I'm 41 and just became a granddad today, yo. So can you please help welcome my granddaughter, future Buttersock member, to the Let's Read family. Welcome, granddaughter in the Papino Dolce family. My goodness. That's crazy to think 41, because like my brother, he's like, 9 years older than me. And so he would be 41-ish, I think. And he just had his first son. So it's funny, you know what I mean? Everybody's kind of doing life at a different pace, for sure. But congratulations, that's freaking awesome. By 60, maybe you'll be a great-grandfather. By 80, a great-great. At that point, whenever you're like a great-great-grandfather at 80 years old, is there even any feelings at all towards that generation of the family anymore? Is there like any way to connect? You know what I mean? Because you're just like, I don't know, at that point you're just like, you wouldn't necessarily be the crypt keeper per se. You certainly wouldn't need to be, but you just kind of like see the number of layers of family in between you and that great-great-grandchild, and you're just like, in most cultures, I'd be fucking dead by now, and you'd be reading journals from me or some shit from the Great War. Coco Clive, welcome back for 4 months in the Buttersock Cult. Says, thank you, Joel. I hope you had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you, Coco. Appreciate you, and welcome back. And Heather, for 1 year in the Buttersock Cult, says, appreciate you and your ability to help me through my crazy brain episodes. You're welcome, Heather. We will bring you down, down, down to earth. Hey, Joel, would you ever read some stories involving kids, like scary stories with kids? I mean, like a specific video, like called like Scary Stories with Kids. I feel like that would be like, I don't know. I feel like that'd be a strange focus for a video. Maybe not necessarily, but like a lot of stories definitely involve people's childhood memories for sure. Maybe like stories like Kids Save the Day or something like that, or wart, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of stories I feel like that involve children. They're just kind of like interspersed with all the other ones. But good suggestion for show. And Zach Holt, welcome back for 8 months. Is getting closer to a full year. Another video to help work go by. Hell yeah. Keep pumping them out, baby. That's what life's all about. Staying on that grind. That grind set. That grind set, bro. Your fiance was just here making fun of me. Perfect. That's how you know that it's meant to be. Oh, creepy kid. Oh, yeah. I feel like, didn't we do that previously? Like creepy kids drawings, or maybe somebody else did that. I'm just like sharing their memory. A friend of yours became a grandpa in his mid-30s. Holy shit. That's me, fucking Grandpa Joel. I had a kid at 15. And then my 15-year-old kid had a kid at 15. Shit was wild. LaFay, thank you for the 10, my friend. Appreciate you. It's the first time watching your stream. It's cool hearing you not so seriously. I know, right? Yeah, for anybody new, just so you're aware. Damn, this music's like slightly loud. I'm gonna switch up. It has too many vocals, I think, is the issue. Sorry. All right. But yeah, for anybody new, as usual, basically you can see the timer in the top right on the screen. For the first 20 minutes, we're just chilling, letting people stroll in, get comfy, grab their popcorn, get into blankie mode, and then I'll switch to a more creepy vibe. And what we're doing tonight is we're reading, I think, like 7 date night stories. So stories that took place on date night. So we'll see how that goes. Any of you guys have any date nights coming up or any exciting dating stories? Jennifer Garten with the 3. Thank you, Jennifer. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any issues with the with like render or, you know, loading the stream. It seems like so far so good, but I remember like going to like ultra low latency in the past and people were like, oh man, the stream keeps buffering. But I don't know. I just want to interact with you guys more accurately. No, more you know, real time. In squeal time. Hey Jacob, welcome back for 11 months. I'm the one and only King of Kings. I love this cult. I am the game, and this year will be Evolution's year. It is. This is the year of Evolution. Genealogy mean genealogy? What are we talking about? Oh, I forget. Even in real-time latency, I still forget what I even said. Shanus, welcome back for 8 months. Is always looking forward to our little chats here, Joel. And these are big chats. These are huge chats, Shanus. We got to keep that in focus. These are massive, giant, gargantuan chats that we're having today. Biggins, as they say in the South. S.J. Curtis with the 2 says, hey Joel and Pradeep, I wrote a fan story just for you. Did you? Where'd you post it? Where does one read said fiction? I get the best voice. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate you. I sound great through the headset. Perfect. Perfect. And David De La Rosa with a 1. Thank you, David. Let's see Paul Aliens. Paul Aliens. That's what it looked like. Paul Allen's stream. Let's see Paul Allen's latency. Yeah, they're like going through, God, low latency, 6500 bit rate, 4K. Is he speedrunning Dark Souls? A tongue roll? Did I roll a tongue? I rolled my ankle and tongue. I'm more likely to roll an ankle than a tongue. Well, it's like that's the throat one, but everybody was saying to me, I didn't take time to look it up, but they were saying you roll, whenever you do it in Spanish, you have to roll from like the tongue behind the teeth. You know, tongue behind the teeth, but like I just don't even know what mechanism in my mouth would even cause a tongue to vibrate behind the teeth. Like I can make a lisp sound. Texan Toe with the tenses. Hope everyone's enjoying the new year. Thanks for the great content. Welcome, Texan. Good to see you. What's crappinin'? And Melissa Brantley, welcome to the Buttersaw Call. We got a lot of re-ups on the membership, guys. Thank you, thank you. And Melissa, be sure to check out the bonus content over in the bonus content playlist. I do believe those are accessible just from the typical playlist locale. Hannah, you got some crazy parent height differences? I don't know why, but growing up, I always wanted to be 5'7". I'm 5'6", and I feel that's intentional. God is laughing. I don't really. I guess if. I don't know. Depending on. I feel like at that point, there's really not much difference between 5'6". Now, the big difference is between 5'11" and 6 foot. You know for a fact that every 5'11" mofo is like, oh, I'm 6 foot. Like from the time they even like barely nudged past at like that doctor visit, we're like, looks like you're 5 feet 11 inches tall. You mean 6 foot, right? Well, no, not quite. Oh, I'm gonna say 6 foot. I don't fucking care. Just shut your stupid mouth. If you fucking tell anybody how tall I am, I'll kill you. Ethan Massa with the 5. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate ya. And Thomas Fries with the 5 says, great stories, excellent live streams. A++++. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas French Fries. Deep fried Thomas Fries. And Ethan, if you had a message, please do at me. Chris, you're 4'11", your husband's 6'3". Oh my goodness. He found you in his trick-or-treat bag one day when he was out. I'm just kidding, but that's funny. Can you say my name? It's Emma. I wanted to hear you say it because a lot of people say it differently. Emma. Yeah, I guess Emma is... Emma's pretty straightforward, right? Or Ema. Hello, Ema. I lost my job back in early November, so I had to pause my Butterstock cult membership. Talk about broken heart. I'll rejoin us soon. No worries, Chrissy. No worries at all. Seriously, sorry about losing the job, but I do hope that you get it back soon. And yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, though. The microphone do I use? Yeah, so this is the Neumann TLM. I think 103. And then the one you hear me in the videos, they're stacked on top of each other right now that I'm recording into is H4n Pro. Can you say my name? Aura. Aura. I can feel your aura. Joel, I have a sister named Emma. We grew up in Oklahoma, so I grew up calling her Ema. Oh, really? With an I? Or Ima? Or wait, Ima? I didn't know it was weird till I low-key bullied about it. Well, I guess if, like, your parents called them that, you know what I mean? Because, like... You know, there's a person in my family that his name is spelled Cody, but then like he'll like people will often correct that his name is pronounced Cody, which seems like just extra steps to me, but I don't even know. You just never know what. I guess the parent kind of has the final say in that since they are sort of the name god. Courtney Lewis, welcome back. For 3 months. This is my favorite channel. Woo! Hell yeah. Good to see you. And thank you for 3 months. And Ethan Massa with the 5 says, been listening to you almost every night for years now. You are my therapist. Congratulations. You've been in my bed with me more than any other girl youth, man. Thank you, Ethan. I appreciate that. It's an honor. Be snuggled right up in there. Whenever I get scared, I look over and I just know everything's gonna be okay. I get scared of my own voice. This story's scary. We got less than a minute. We'll kick these stories off. Once again, we got date night stories tonight. 7 of those. Click that like button. Click share. This stream is the only reason I have YouTube. Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. Only thing that sucks about being short is climbing shelves. Well, right, exactly. Or jumping from different keys on the keyboard to like type an essay for school or something like that. Or like say, you know, falling into the little cracks in the couch and getting lost with all the dust bunnies in their kingdom. It can be tough. Stephanie Bowling, hello, welcome back for 4 months. Says, unlike me, Jacob has no remorse. Jacob has no mercy. I have lots of mercy. Jacob does not ask the sex bots. Jacob's destroyed them. And thank God he did. And thank God you guys have such contrasting personalities. They really do complement each other. I can only imagine in my heart of hearts what great future Jolene will, have. Jewel, you're welcome. I'm glad I can help. It's pretty cool. Yeah, a friend of mine was messaging me saying how they had very bad impacted tooth pain, and how basically, I don't know, the voice is the only thing that helped them to relax and actually feel decent. So I'm like, damn, I don't even know how that works, but maybe it vibrates through the headphones, through the skull, and down to the teethuses, and just it's like a nerve agent or something of that nature. Joel is the beast. Thank you. Can I pronounce your name? Looks like Philippa Parsons. Philippa. Oh, 1 second. God damn, D Shore. You're waking those cheeks up. With a big dono, as usual. Thank you so much, D Shore. What's crappening? What's going on? What is the good news, my friend? Thank you again for the big torqueable amount. Yeah, is there any new updates in the bowling family drama? Is there any you have any other warring factions with any other families? And Beast Kid with a 5 says, I got lectured about the dangers of online gaming like I haven't heard plenty of horror stories about this. Hey, that could be a good live stream. Online gaming stories? Or you want me to lecture people about stuff? Because I do believe I have an episode on the channel related to online gaming horror stories. Funnily enough. You might just have to look through the search bar. Want to try your first name? Is it Bryn? I'm thinking Bryn. Or Brian. Or Brian, maybe. It's a fancy way of spelling that. Yo, yoo-hoo, big summer blowout. Where do we get these deals? Stephanie Bowling with a 2 says, I took a pregnancy today. I tested today, and I'm pregnant. All right. Another one in the pipes. Good to hear, Stephanie. What are we naming this one? You should name it Jolino, because I have a feeling it's going to be a boy. Jolene and Jolino. Jolino. It's an Italian baby. It'll be here soon. And SJ Curtis with the 2 says, Jacob, I challenge you to see who can floss faster. Oh my gosh, Jacob, what do you say? Can you clean those puppies out quick with a piece of long fabric? I know you've dealt with the sex bots before, but this challenge is new. It's how my mom got me to brush my teeth. Beast Kid with the 2 says, pronounce this name, Vovorita. Boom. Just like Coco Melon. Except Bizarro World. Oh yeah, it's read time. Let's get this party started. Anyways, if you like this music in the background, that's Happy Lo-Fi Beats by Prantic. I hate when people spell their name with like numbers. It's just like so awkward, but it's like PR4NTIK, and it's the Instances Part 2 on the Dream Hop Music YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe over there if you're down with that. Thank you to them as always. We will kick this off with some real creepy vibes. You're going to hear me pronounce Wooloo Mooloo. Wooloo Mooloo. Just a little bit of Wooloo Mooloo is all. Nothing too big. Alright, friends. 7 of these bad boys. Can we do it? Can we fucking fix it? Melissa Brantley, thank you for the 2. Appreciate you. Thank you. Have I read any domestic violence stories? I guess, there was one recently where it was like, what the fuck was that? New Year's Eve stories where some guy was beating on his wife in the car. He was like a Giants fan, and then these Eagle fans were coming up to save the day or some shit. It's pronounced Wolu. Wolu. Oh, okay. Who the hell's that? It's probably from Coco Melon. I have no idea. Trash drama. This is dog shit level drama. We need to step our drama levels up. Lisa, good to see you. Alright, let me lube the lips. Get myself nice and prepped. Prooped. Can I pronounce your name? Yeah, Leslie. I remember I got fucking hounded by this chick at work because I would call her Leslie. Potato, you know what I mean? But she's like, it's Leslie. Les. And I'm about to talk to you, Les, because you on my last nerve. Alright, anyways. Back in 2013, an independent right out the gate. Back in 2013, an independent horror movie called VHS 2 came out. The first one in the series was a monster hit, and personally I loved it, so it was inevitable that a sequel would be on the horizon. I don't think the movie got a wide release in theaters, or maybe it didn't get any release nationwide, but luckily for me, my hometown was getting a special screening of the film. When I found out, I was pumped. I asked my girlfriend at the time if we could go, and she agreed. I'd bought tickets ahead of time and couldn't wait until that night came to go see the movie. My girlfriend was happy to get a date night out of the event. I made my girlfriend arrive early for the 10 p.m. movie because I wanted to get the seats that I liked. When we arrived, it was an empty theater, and as the minutes closed in, nobody showed up. I was honestly shocked. I knew it wasn't a super mainstream movie, but I thought that it would be popular enough to get an audience, and this was a special screening of the movie after all. About 5 minutes until showtime, somebody finally came into the theater. It wasn't a massive theater, but I would guess that there were probably about 100 seats. My girlfriend and I were sitting dead center in the middle of the theater, so this person that came in by themselves sat right behind us. It was strange, since it was an empty theater and they could have just sat wherever they wanted, but this person chose to sit basically on top of us. I try not to let it bother me, since it was the best seat in the house. It's just some people have very little self-awareness. Maybe it's just me, but I wouldn't sit in the seat directly behind someone in an empty theater. I would at least sit in a row or two behind. After the first few minutes of the initial awkwardness, I just got over it and was ready to watch this movie. The movie started, and I was hooked right away. This type of found footage horror movie, though done a million times, I still love it. Just a couple of minutes into the movie, the person behind us got up and just stood there. I didn't turn around, but I could feel them standing over me. My girlfriend was squeezing my hand because she was very uncomfortable. Finally, he moved and walked to the aisle. I looked over to see if I could get a glimpse of the guy. It was dark in the theater, but I could definitely make out a few features. It was an older man. I could see a white beard, and he was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt. When I turned to look at him, he just stood at the end of the aisle that we were sitting in. Now, I was pretty freaked out, and more annoyed than scared, because this was just starting to distract me from the actual movie. My girlfriend whimpered. She whimpered. Beast Kid with a 2 says, I watched the Bud Dwyer... Oh, sorry, man. I hope... God, I'm a bad influence, Jesus. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that, just so I don't feel terrible about fucking bringing that shit up, bro. I'm so sorry. God. I have an idea for a background, a ghost and a monster playing cards. That would be cool, yeah. Just like slowly laying down hands. I know, Your Maker, who people have said my voice sounds similar to his, and I So you should definitely go subscribe to him if you're, a fan of me. But he was talking about doing a joint stream. Now, I wasn't really sure how I felt about that, to be honest, because I don't know, I kind of feel like the dynamic that I have with, you guys here sometimes is kind of like, it's sort of a individual back and forth. And I feel like, if I had to, a joint where we just smoke joints the whole time, that would be fun though. But it would just be like us like bantering and stuff. And I don't really know if I could really do that, to be honest. I don't know, because I know that my personality would probably change, you know what I mean, to be around another person. And if I felt that it was kind of awkward, or felt that it was like the jokes were like forced or some, you know what I mean? Like sometimes whenever you haven't really like interacted with people, like unless it played out like a podcast where it was like, we were playing a game and chit-chattering and bannister, all that kind of stuff. I'm just not sure. I'm just not used to it, because I've had people kind of come on to the live stream to just like say a few things, and I always know, I notice when I'm like reflecting back on it, I'm like, damn, I'm kind of fucking awkward, over the individual conversation, or like I just don't know. I think you sound like an English dub of an anime in a good way. Well, hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. Thank you. That's encouraging. But yeah, I don't know. Not really sure. You should just be awkward. Yeah, but it's like, I feel like it would not motivate you guys to stick around if it wasn't like, if it felt kind of strange, you know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Galaxia XP with a big $20 donation says, 2023 is the year of self-care, even if it just means I work super late and manage to wash my face and put on chapstick. These streams, best part of the day. Thanks, Joel. Always appreciate it. Thank you, Galaxia. Of course, absolutely. Yeah, no, honestly, all those people that are like 2023, like my, new year, new me kind of thing, but then they like the meme for the 2023 is like, I don't know, a wave crashing on them or something, or like they don't anticipate that they're gonna get shit on. I think that's fucking stupid. Like honestly, we as a culmination of people, I think, dictate our energy, right? Sure, there is like a sort of governing, entity of individuals that sort of make a lot of decisions in a hierarchical sense that you sort of have to follow, that energy. But a lot of the times, like it all begins with you, you know what I mean? Like your energy on how you approach life, whether or not you want to approach it from a sense of fear or a sense of like go-getterness, you know what I mean? Like a sense of positivity, I think that's where it really should begin. Like you really should just start believing in yourself, because why not? You know what I mean? You have power. You are a powerful individual. It's just concealed within you. And like a lot of the times, like it's almost like we're more afraid that at one point that power is going to manifest itself, and then we're going to have to be faced with the fact that we're in a lot more control of our reality than we realize. And I think all of that reality literally just begins in your own mind. Beast Kid with the 5 says, I'm unfazed by... Okay, well, that's good. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. But thank you, Beast Kid. I thank you for the donation and all that. Can I get it? Ooh, woo. Ooh, woo. You're generally not awkward. Sometimes you act weird, but in a confident way, so it doesn't come up as awkward and enduring. Well, that's the thing, is like, my energy around other people, I feel like, is like very cordial, unless I know them really well. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not sure that I would be able to establish like some crazy dynamic with another person like right out the gate, unless they had the energy to lead it that way. And yeah, basically I'm just like, I don't want to, like, if I were to do a cooperative stream, I don't want to like lead things in a way that would be boring to people or something, if I came off as boring during that interaction. SJ with the 2 says, Joe, I'm happy with your email, lol, story time. You're happy with my email? Oh, okay. What was my email? I didn't send it. I don't send any emails. Unless you mean like you sent something to my email. Oh, you were talking about that fiction or about me and Pradeep or something. Did you put that on the Reddit or did you emailed it? Mr. Nightmare plus Corpse plus Joel. That would be interesting, honestly. Even though once again, I have like no idea who any of those guys are, you know what I mean, like on a personal level, so I feel like it would just be us all just kind of like feeling each other out, you know what I mean? What are you about? What are you about? What's this all about? What is this? Where'd you get this? Hey, give me that. Hey, don't touch that. Don't forget Galaxia's Dono. Did I miss her? No, I got the big 20. Thank you again. And Beast Kid, thank you. And SJ, thank you again. Yeah, we got Galaxia. We Gucci. Spank that like button. It's like a wholesome fanfic, right? Because my friend told me about a hamster one and I'll never be the same. What hamster? Harry the hamster. Feeling each other out. You're welcome, Seth. Good to see you. My girlfriend whispered to me to say something, and I could tell that she was completely freaked out. I got the courage to just shout at the guy, "Hey man, could you sit down or something? You're really distracting us from the movie." The guy held up his hand to wave to us and then turned around and walked out of the theater, and I think I could hear him laughing. It was so creepy that we just sat on eggshells for a few minutes, but the guy never came back. Once the movie was around 20 minutes in, I forgot about the guy and just began to enjoy the rest of the movie. Now, the movie was around an hour and a half, and once the credits rolled and the lights came on in the theater, I started to talk about the movie right away with my girlfriend and share all the parts I loved. However, my girlfriend couldn't focus on the movie. She said that she was terrified that the man was going to come back. Every sound she heard in the theater made her jump. I felt horrible and a little selfish that I didn't even think about the guy. As we left the theater, we both decided to use the restroom before the car ride home. She was petrified to leave my side, but I was able to break away for a minute so I could, do my business. When I got into the bathroom, all the urinals had signs on them that said, "out of order." Weird, I thought, but it was no big deal. So I went into the stall, and it's important to know that at this point, the entire building was basically empty besides a few employees, and my wife and me. It was just about midnight, and we were the last theater to empty out. Just about midnight. There's a scary podcast for you. Just about midnight. You don't want to know what hamster. It was a YouTuber or something that involved a hamster, and if only... Oh no, I don't get the reference. I'm too innocent. I could never. Oh God. It was just about midnight, and we were the last theater to empty out, so I didn't expect to hear anyone in the bathroom. Now, while I was doing my business, I almost had an accident because someone slammed on the stall wall on the other side of the stall I was in. "Hey, buddy!" I shouted. "Hey, take it easy next time. Almost made me make a mess in here." And instead of a response, I just got a series of grunts. I just assumed it was some clown of an employee going to the bathroom. I flushed, and as I washed my hands, I noticed in the mirror reflection that person's stall door was opening slowly. I stopped washing abruptly because I just had a bad feeling, and as I walked away from the sink, I swear that I could see that hooded man from the theater start to walk out of the stall. I couldn't be 100% sure, but I was almost certain it was the same guy. My girlfriend was already waiting for me, and I didn't want to freak her out anymore, so I didn't let on that anything weird was wrong. Anything weird was wrong. Nothing weird was wrong here. Just the serial. Okay, I'll ever contribute my own story to a video. Once or twice. Once or twice. My girlfriend was already waiting for me, and I didn't want to freak her out anymore, so I didn't let on that anything was weird or wrong. I briskly walked over to her and promptly said to her, "Hey, let's get out of here." I should have said something to one of the employees, but all I saw was two younger guys who really didn't look like they cared about their jobs too much, and honestly, I just wanted to get to my car and drive away. Besides, in that moment of thought, I didn't really think anything could be done, since this person really didn't do anything wrong besides kind of freak us out. It was just about midnight, and we were walking to the car. It was an early summer night, but that night was on the chillier side. My windows were fogged up, so we sat for a minute in the car, and I tried to lighten her mood with some jokes and silliness. And this was also an attempt to lighten my spirits as well. When the fog windows defrosted, in the distance, probably 10 yards or so, it was him. We saw the hooded man. Now, it could have been anybody, but we knew it was the guy from the theater. My girlfriend immediately begins to freak out. She started to scream and panic and just kept shouting for me to drive, drive, drive. As I was putting the car into drive, the man began to sprint at my car and dove on the hood as I started to pull through my part. Jesus, that was 0 to 100 real fucking fast. Caitlin Lake with a 5 says, I have regular night terrors and sleep paralysis. I'd love to write a creepypasta out of my experiences, thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I think it's always good, no matter what, if you're into writing, to just always write. Just every day, writing a little bit. And the cool thing, you can post on my subreddit, r/letsreadofficial. You can email it, but, you could post on other subreddits as well, like r/paranormal, r/creepy encounters, or well, maybe not in the creepy encounters, but anywhere, really. And you can kind of get feedback on your writing and that kind of thing on there. So, 'tis up to you. 'Tis up to you. But thank you for the 5. Oh, you're packing for a road trip, Ashley? That's cool. Where are you heading? My third-party narration situation is the shiznit. Third-party You mean like just my commentary in between? I hate when people panic like that, like so unhelpful and very annoying. I had to run in with a rattlesnake in the whole group. Be me with the other person just started screaming, not even telling me. Yeah, that's the worst. Like, even if the situation is very panic-inducing, it's not helpful to keep everyone else's spirits, under control. Oh, sorry, Dave. I thought you meant like, I thought you were talking about like some other project or something. I was like, oh, what am I working on? As I was putting the car into drive, the man sprinted at my car and dove on my hood as I started to pull through my parking spot. Her and I both screamed unconsciously, and I made a sudden turn because the guy was hanging on my hood, like something you would actually see in a legitimate movie. And I'll never forget the eyes. We stared at each other for probably about 2 seconds, but those 2 seconds felt like hours in that moment. The man's eyes were wide and creepy. I know that's not a great description, but it's the only way that I can describe them. After that turn, he let go and fell to the ground. I sped out of the parking lot, and when I looked in my rearview mirror, I saw the man just standing there, waiting like I would turn around and come back to him or something. As we turned out of the parking lot onto the main road, we looked back one last time, and the man was walking the lot in the opposite direction, towards the theater, and that was the moment that I finally felt some relief. Now, as a man in my 30s now, I would have absolutely called the authorities or even the movie complex to tell them to check the cameras, but for some reason, younger me just wanted to move on and forget about that event. I went back to that theater again only one other time nearly 5 years after that event, and like my girlfriend that night, every sound made me jump out of my skin. I was anxious the entire movie, and I told myself I'd never go back to that theater. I have so many unanswered questions about that night. Mainly who that guy was, and what did he want from us? What would have happened if I didn't move quickly in the bathroom that night? What would have happened if we didn't drive away right when we did? I think I'm lucky to be sitting here writing this story, and this is one date I'll always remember, and not for the right reasons. With that look in that guy's eyes, I really do wonder if he was just on something and was losing his mind. On. He was on it. He was on that PCP. Poo poo pee pee. Never caught a live before. You help me sleep every night. Awesome. Is it Ellie or Elle? Appreciate ya. Dude, I haven't gone to a movie in a while. I need to go. Even if the movie's dog shit. I kind of want to see Avatar. I heard it was not bad. Do you ever read fiction stories? You know, I do on, like more recently on the bonus content. Like I was reading that Krampus story, and that one was sort of written in the style of like a, you know, a no sleep, where the person's like recalling events of the past, but you know, it was obviously fiction because it was Krampus. You should see Avatar? Okay, maybe I should. This weekend, Abadar. In a North accent is 11 out of 10. Which one? Yeah, which one's a North accent? Like North Jersey? Wooder. It sounds like pigeons in the background? Really? Where are you hearing those? Sam, I hate your voice. Thank you, Sam. Everyone's gonna beat you up, Sam. Be careful. Just kidding. Don't hurt Sam. Just tickle him to death. Alright, that was story 1. Sam, you're late too. It means you get the tardy hat. It just says tardy on it. The story I'm about to share isn't insanely scary, but more along the lines of toxic scary. I want to attempt to raise awareness the awareness of creeps on dating sites like Tinder. I met a seemingly great guy whose name was Ryan, but I soon found out just how deceiving someone can be behind the curtain that is the internet. Shortly after ending a long-term relationship, I finally decided to get back out there into the dating world. I did what everyone else I knew was doing, and that was meeting people on Tinder. I didn't have a ton of success from the start because a lot of guys were looking for something that I just wasn't looking for. A few matches here and there, but they didn't do a whole lot for me. How do you get your username to be colorful like that? Yeah, I believe everyone with the green names, they've clicked the join button. It's $5 a month, but you get cool little emojis and silly shit like that, and then you also get bonus content, which we are now up to 16 videos on the bonus content thing, and it's a new video every month. Pretty lengthy and girthy sized. Caitlin Lake with the 2 says, thanks for the advice, forever lurker, forever fan. Thank you, Caitlin. Good to see you. Lurk away. Someone or somebody somewhere in Hollywood is missing your awesome narrative voice. You think so? Do you really think so? Do I really got what it takes? Thank you. I wanted the pandemic to bring back drive-in theaters, but they never came and come back. Yeah, I think there's some around here, but you have to drive a ways to get to it. And it's more in like smaller towns, but any town with like a normal theater, it seems as if though like, I don't know though. It would be kind of sick though if there was like, I don't know, like a local community thing where they like kept the drive-in theater nice and trim, because I know, like, you know, a lot of the times the gravel parking lot will like fill up with weeds and whatnot. But you know, they just, I don't know, rent out or like have the equipment and rent it out like once a weekend during the summertime or some shit. I assume it would be relatively easy to, you know, get it going, and as long as you can like produce enough fucking popcorn and hot dogs for everyone, you should be pretty set to go. Oh, and Ethan Massa, well, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content, which is in the playlist, which Fry, thank you Fry, generously linkied. God, I still remember at my buddy's wedding, like his mom was so sweet. Like, you know, like some moms are just like next level sweet to the point where they just don't, like, you know, They just don't know what a dirty joke is. They're just so nice. And like she she the whole time she wanted so badly for us to play this game called Linky. I don't even know what the fuck. It was like a trivia game or some shit with with everyone, with the family, the small gathering that they had there and stuff. And so we played the game, but it was kind of like a tedious, like really boring game. And I just remember like the one friend being like, Jesus Christ, we're stuck in Linky hell. I was just like, it was really fucking funny, but it was like the worst fucking thing you could say to like the sweetest, nicest little lady. She just wanted to play a little Linky. Thomas Fries, welcome to the Buttersock Call. You now have access to bonus content. A few matches here or there, but they didn't amount to anything more than a few texts back and forth of just small talk. It wasn't until I met Ryan that things started to turn around for me. Ryan was sweet and charming, and he was kinda cute, which was just a bonus for me, really. I have several Disney tattoos which I featured on my Tinder profile pictures, and he commented on them in a very nice and tasteful way. We bonded over a love of Disney, and he had a small Mickey Mouse logo tattooed on his inner bicep, and we messaged for a few days on Tinder, and then we exchanged Snapchat information instead of just our phone numbers. Now, for a couple of days, we snapped a ton. Harmless pictures of just us and our everyday life, and at night we would message for hours on the Snapchat app. Finally, after about a week, we exchanged a... Oops. What does Linky mean? It was just like a board game or some shit. Coco Clive, ASMR, and Genealogy. Thank you for the 10. Aussie Bucks says, I just got a tattoo of somebody December 2022 of their birthday, on their birthday, whom I looked up to for 26 years after a traumatic childhood. My husband 100% agreed to get tattoo. Is this weird? I have no regrets. Wait, I just got a tattoo of somebody December 2022 on their birthday. Okay, so you got a tattoo of that person on their birthday that you have looked up to for 26 years after a traumatic childhood. Okay, so after the traumatic childhood, this person is someone you've looked up to for a long time. My husband 100% agreed to get the tattoo. Is this weird? I have no regrets. I don't think it would be weird, you know, if this person really helped you, whether it's like, I mean, if it's someone in your immediate life for, 26 years, I'm imagining it's probably like a celebrity of sorts, and they have their birthday public, unless it was like, a aunt or uncle or something of that nature that helped kind of be the parent figure or something. It makes sense for sure. You're gonna hush about Disney? Are you watching? You got a big, I got a Mickey Mouse tattoo also. It's on my forehead. Really makes it awkward at interviews. I do the voice. Oh boy. But I make my, forehead talk. Finally, after about a week, we exchanged phone numbers. He started calling me beautiful, and it started to feel like more than just a conversation with a guy. We finally set up an actual date, and I was thrilled. We went to dinner downtown in the city where I live, and then stepped out afterwards for drinks. I won't lie, this was probably the best date I'd ever been on. Ryan was charming and sweet. He held the door open for me, which I know seems small, but you would be surprised how many guys don't do those little things that require almost no effort. That night we danced, and I never dance. Around 1 a.m., he took me home, walked me to the door, and even kissed me goodnight. He could not have been more of a perfect gentleman. Now, the next day we started messaging again. By this point, I was head over heels for Ryan. I couldn't wait to see him again. We made plans for that evening to have dinner in a much less fancy setting. We went home. Do I legit have any tattoos? Just on my lower back, right above my, ass crack, it says, Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. pretty sweet. It's a little warning. A little warning to my friends. We went to one of the local sports bars, which is actually more of a family restaurant with a small bar inside. The night was just like the night before. I was having a great night, and I couldn't believe I got this lucky with the first person I met on Tinder. After we ate, we sat there for a while and then decided to move over to the bar and continue hanging out for a while. Once we claimed our bar spot, I told him that I needed to use the restroom and that I would be right back. And that is when everything seemed to just start going wrong. I came back, and the charming man I had just became so accustomed to barely acknowledging my presence. Wait, what? Oh, what the fuck? It says butt sock king. Yeah. I'm gonna scratch out the old one with... Imagine that, just like scratching it out with like a tattoo scratcher. And then just putting butt sock king right there. The buttersock crack. I came back, and the charming man I had just become so accustomed to barely acknowledged my presence. Ordinarily, I wouldn't care, but I only point this out because it was just so out of character for this guy Ryan that I felt that I knew now. He sat stone-faced at the bar, drinking his beer and watching the TV. I started to talk and playfully I flirted with him. I let out a big flirt. Coco Clive. ASMR and Genealogy with the 5 Aussie bucks says, not a well-known celebrity. I don't like celebs much, but he helped me get through a lot of trauma. I see him as a father figure. Well, that's good, yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense for sure. And thank you for the 5. I started to talk and playfully flirt with him like we had been doing for a while now, and he just sort of ignored me. He barely even gave me eye contact. I couldn't imagine something that bad could have happened in the 2 minutes I was gone in the restroom. Only about 5 minutes after coming back from the bathroom, Ryan stood up and told me that he had to take me home. He apologized, but something from work came up and he needed to get home right away. He dropped me off and didn't walk me to the door or kiss me, and this was not the same Ryan as the night before. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about how horrible that date turned out. I finally broke down and just texted him and said, "Hey Ryan, I noticed you didn't seem like yourself when I got back from the bathroom. I hope everything is okay. I'm thinking about you." And I added a couple of hearts and kiss face emojis and all that kind of stuff. It took about an hour, but I finally got a response that said, "It's fine. I'm fine. Good night. I will text you tomorrow." For a guy I just met, that text really hurt me. If I could show you all the texts prior to this one and how loving and affectionate he was, you'd also be concerned that something's wrong. I started to think that if it was me... started to think about if it was me. Hey, Rosa Diaz with the 5 says, I've always wondered, but how did the Buttersock cult come to be? I originally associated Buttersock with iCarly. To be honest with you, like most cults, we have no idea the origins of it. It just simply is. I suppose you could probably go back through years and years of stream footage and probably determine as such, but as far as I know, it's a tale as old as time. Something that not even historians really could dig up. But then there was an internet historian. Da, 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 da. I started to think about if it was me. I started to wonder if it was me. Did I say something that could have made him upset? He was fine literally 2 minutes before. The next day he asked me to go grab some coffee with him, and he apologized for his strange behavior at the restaurant. He told me that he was going to explain everything at the coffee shop and not to worry. It made me feel a little bit better, but I still had that pit in my stomach. I figured maybe he ran into an ex or something like that when I was in the bathroom and that he wanted to tell me about her. Trust me, that would be something I would have zero interest in knowing. I met him at the coffee shop because he came right from work. He was already sitting there with 2 coffees when I walked up, and he greeted me with a huge hug. He told me to sit down and just let him explain. He said in the most calm and collective voice, "I just want you to know, I'm not a jealous person." I gave him a crook smile and said in a confused voice, okay. It's good to know. I'm not either." He didn't react to my statement at all. He continued to stare down at his coffee, and he spoke up again. "I saw you texting a guy named Sean. You're with me now. I just can't stand for that. And any guy here would agree with me." Not even processing the invasion of privacy that he knew who I was texting, I was more concerned with his phrase, "You're with me now." Before I could formulate a response, he spoke up again, now much more aggressively. "So you don't deny it then? You were texting a Sean. I told you I'm not a jealous man, but this is not okay. When you're someone's woman, you don't text other men. Ever." Well, I'm no fool. Wait. What the fuck? Fucking Sean. I know, Sean always gets in the way in this shit. Every guy named Sean is just like so hot. It's crazy. It's like you can't even compete. Sean. Oh my god, it's Sean. Babe, I had to. It's Sean. Well, I'm no fool. As soon as this unbelievably twisted sentence came out of his mouth, I got up and started to leave. As I pushed my chair in, he stood up and now shouting at this point, "Who's Sean? Hey, I'm not jealous, you can tell me. You owe me that." I owe him that. I started to walk away, embarrassed now because the entire coffee shop was now staring at us. He started to shout, "I saw your phone when you went into the bathroom. I said I love you to Sean. You said it, fuck. I saw your phone when you went into the bathroom. You said I love you to Sean. You're just like every other girl, and I want everyone here to know." Finally, to the point of being enraged, I turned around and yelled, "Sean's my sister. Sean is a female. You're insane." Ryan did not like this response. He started to follow me out of the restaurant, and he was continuing to scream, "I'm not a jealous man. I swear I'm not. You know, this is your fault." Thankfully, this outrageous coffee date allowed me to move right past the grieving process and right into being thankful that I never got more serious with this freak. He ended up spamming my phone with calls and texts for 2 days, and that's when I finally got a restraining order on him and blocked his number. At least once a week I get a call from some random number, but I have no way to prove it's him. Sometimes the calls are restricted, and the person on the other line is just breathing heavily. That was the worst date I'd ever been on, and the worst man I'd ever dated by a landslide. I'm not sure how I could have avoided this situation. Perhaps I could have moved a little slower and got to know him a little more before getting as cozy with him as I did. I know some people have had many more horrific stories on Tinder and other sites, and all things considered, I'm lucky. But the events of that day in the coffee shop still haunt me. The look in his eyes was horrible, and if I didn't walk away when I did, I don't know what would have happened. Ladies and gentlemen who use those sites, please be careful and really get to know your date before you start getting serious, because a seemingly great individual could end up being an insanely jealous monster. So he's like, is she in love with her sister or what? I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I feel like you wouldn't be able to get a restraining order that fast either, unless something else happened. I don't fucking know. From full chest acting to soft spooky instantly. I'm getting good at it. Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I hear the voices and I just cringe at myself. I'm like, fuck. But I guess I am kind of doing it on a cold read, so If I get it right on the first one, that's not bad. Oh, this one... Okay, sweet. Oh, Lord. Whoops. Shouldn't Tinder have resulted in a hookup before she realized he's the monster? I don't know. Some people seem to use Tinder nowadays for like... Sorry, I had to lean over. Sound like a fucking old man. Oh, God. I don't know. Some people use Tinder for Sirius. Sirius FM. No, like, I don't know. They actually are looking for something for realsies. I just think, like, Tinder's system, I guess. I mean, I don't use it, but, I mean, it just makes sense, sort of. Because, you know, you just swipe right. You think they're hot. You like their profile. Swipe right. You don't. Swipe left or whatever. Your friend met her husband on Tinder? Yeah, I mean, it's got that vibe of like a hookup app for sure, and I mean, it's definitely, but that just comes down to whatever you establish with the other person, I guess, you know? How do you tag someone in chat like you tagged me? Yeah, you just type @ and then you start to type their name, and then you click the name, and then space, and then type whatever you want, and it should kind of like alert them of a @ within the chat. The @ within the chat by Dr. Seuss. A lot of weirdos on Tinder. There are. I don't think dating's something... Fuck. I don't think dating is something I really want to focus on right now in my life. I never was big into the whole dating scene, mainly because I was always ultra focused on progressing my own career. And even though you can absolutely focus on your career and date, my specific career path forced me to move and travel a lot. So as a result, dating was the last thing on my mind. I'm writing this account of events just days removed from the incident. Also, one last sidebar before I break it all down. To protect my privacy, I quite frankly... To protect my privacy and quite frankly my job, I'm not going to give any specific names as it could have serious implications for myself or my career. Right from high school, I went to film school, as my lifelong goal is... Right from high school, I went to film school, as my lifelong goal is to make movies. I love everything about film, and I love all genres for the most part. What I really love is horror, and I would love the chance to make horror movies one day. Anybody reading this who is familiar with the film industry will know it's not easy to make it in that industry without paying your dues. After graduating from film school, I secured some easy jobs on films. Nothing exciting or substantial, but my foot was in the door. My work mainly consisted of freelance work, any kind of job that I could get to pay the bills. I was living out west at the time, and California rent is not cheap, even with consistent work. After a few years of working on films in a very small capacity, I got a really good job that I'm still working on today. I'm not going to disclose the name of the show, but it is a fairly popular ghost hunting show. I really enjoyed working on the show. The people are great, and I love all this stuff, even though I am aware that it's pretty much all fake. Oh yeah, sorry to burst your bubble if you're reading this, and you believe you... Wait, they're fake? No! Horror Hill? Is that a ghost hunting show? I'm back. I was getting cough drops. What did I miss? Cough drops and the stream is the only thing that keep me from dying. Oh, I'm sorry. There are only like 2 ghost shows? Really? I thought there was like a shit ton of ghost shows. Oh yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble if you're reading this and you believe what you... I can't read this sentence. Sorry to burst your bubble if you're reading this and you believe what you see in those shows. Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble if you're reading this and you believe what you see in those shows, but like all reality TV, all ghost hunting shows are completely fake. We find allegedly haunted locations from myths or local lore and set up some fun shenanigans and produce a fun and engaging story, which gives the viewer just enough evidence that something sinister could be happening. I was what you probably could call a writer, I suppose. I would set up many of the locations and the scares and write the scripts for the talent. It wasn't the horror movies I wanted to create, but at least I was telling a scary story in some way. While working on the show, I was able to travel a lot of While working on the show, I was able to travel to a lot of fantastic places all over the world. Of all the wild and exotic places I got to visit for the show, it was in the New England area where I met Abby. She checked every box on my list of what I like in a woman, and most shockingly, she seemed into me. We hit it off immediately, and luckily we were going to be in the area for a few weeks filming a few different stories. Abby was infatuated with my work and loved horror as well. Specifically, she loved anything that pertained to the paranormal. Abby and I went out on a couple of dates, and I was surprised how well they went. It all seemed too good to be true. It wasn't until we started talking in depth about my work that she started to unravel, and I mean, she became truly unglued. This specific date was a little different than the others. Up to this point, we had been out to the cat and got... We had been out to out to eat. What the fuck? My eyes are going. Coco Clive with a 2 says, what do you think about Harry and Meghan? I don't really give a shit about that stuff, right? You know, you think that that's what they would say, but then all of a sudden you come across somebody from the UK who's like, oh no, it's you know, we all really enjoy the royal family. Like, what? Why? Like, what is exciting about that? They don't give you any bread, you know, or jewels or anything cool. They don't even have any, like, you know, jousting events anymore or anything of that nature. Oh, the audio's not so good? Oh no, did my internet? I talk shit on Harry and fucking he shit on my stream real quick. Okay, so that's the first issue I've had with the stream, which is curious. Oh yeah, 1 minute ago. Stream is disconnected, attempting to reconnect. One Ultra Plan 8. Huh. Did we lose anybody? I don't know. Yeah, the royal family came after me. I talked a little bit of trash. Just a wee bit of shit. Well, yeah, I don't know. Fucking... That stupid fucking internet sometimes is just lame. Just has these little hiccups. Yeah, as soon as I brought up Harry and Morgan, I get shit on. Anyways, you know what? I won't say any further out of fear of being smited by the Queen and her spirit warriors. Yeah. The neural link from the other night disconnected. Oh my god, yeah, the CIA is on my dick right now, dude. You say one little thing that deviates from the plan, they on you. They on you quick. Quicker than flies on feces. I actually just discovered your channel within the last couple of weeks. It's been the best part of my work nights. Awesome. Gengar, thank you. Dude, Gengar is like such a fucking awesome Pokemon, honestly. Gengar, Dragonite. There's a lot of good ones, but I kind of wish there was like an entire like sort of storyline specifically for Gengar. Say one little thing, you move with your auntie and uncle to Guantanamo Bay. Up to this point, we had been out to eat and gone out for drinks. But on this night, we decided to go on a scenic walk after dark. We were completely alone and sitting on a bench watching the water flow down the stream. In a sincere and soft voice, she asked, "What was the scariest thing you'd ever filmed for the show?" I just sort of chuckled and said in a playful tone, "Well, when I'm filming, it's all scary, really." She giggled, but looked confused. I didn't think she was serious. I thought she was just kidding around. She then said in a more fishing tone, Well, have you always believed in this stuff, or did you just start when you started working there? I leaned back a little and responded in the politest way I could and said, Abby, I don't believe in ghosts or paranormal. This show and all the shows like it are fake. I create all the tension and scares you see on TV. I mean, maybe there's a ghost out there, but we sure as hell aren't recording them for television. Abby looked enraged, as if though I just told her that I stole her life savings. Abby, are you okay? I'm just saying, She cut me off mid-sentence by screaming and holding up her hand to my face. I was in awe of this reaction. It's something I would see my 3-year-old niece do and not a 20-something-year-old woman. As I sat there in disbelief at the antics of Abby, she finally responded in words after her yelp and said, So, you lie to people? There are no ghosts? I shrugged off her attitude and said, well, lie is a strong word. I prefer the word entertain. I allow people to use their imagination and wonderment. I kid you not, this woman started to weep uncontrollably. I have to admit, I was very confused, and I didn't know how to handle the situation at all. Before I could say anything else, she stood up and said, You know, there are spirits and evil in this world, and people like you are the ones that upset them. You're as good as dead. After this haunting little monologue she had, she turned and... After this haunting little monologue she had, she turned and ran away. And I sat there alone on the bench and just shook my head in disbelief and kind of just laughed it off. A short time later, I headed back to my hotel for the evening. I called my buddy back in California and told him the whole story, and he just laughed it off as well. He made an excellent point and said, even if you don't believe in ghosts, you fake their existence for a living. It's not like you're an authority on the matter. They could still exist. You personally just happen to fake their existence is all. I thought that was so well put. And later that night at around 3 a.m., I was woken up by a bang on my door. It scared me. I looked out the peephole of the door, and there was nothing or anybody there. I went over to the sink, washed my face, and sat in the chair in the room. After another minute or so, bang. I jumped again to the loud sound of the... Oops. Oh shit. Harry and Megan's outside. They're fucking pissed. After another minute or two, bang. I jumped again to the loud noise at the door. When I approached the peephole, I saw nothing again. Not again, sorry, whoops. When I approached the peephole, I again saw nothing. After a moment of contemplation, I decided that I was going to open the door and see if I could see anybody or anything in the hallway. When I opened the door, I was immediately struck in the head with a small bat or something. I fell to my knees and became groggy for a second, but I was able to get back up. Right on the side of the door, which would have been out of sight of the peephole, was a figure dressed in all black, holding this bat or object. They went to swing it again, but I was able to catch this blow from striking me in the head. Luckily for me, some of my production crew was staying right there on the floor with me, and they heard the struggle. 2 of the producers of the show ran into the hallway and grabbed my assailant and pinned them down, while another producer called the authorities. Once they fell to the ground, I noticed the person was wearing some type of red devil mask, and the masked person wasn't very strong, as the 2 skinny producers were able to hold this person down, who wasn't saying anything. They were just struggling to get free every minute or so. Finally, the cops were able to show up, and they removed the mask, Scooby-Doo style, really, and if you haven't figured it out yet, it was lovely Abby who had attacked me. Jesus Christ. She was arrested right away, and honestly, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Obviously, I should be pressing charges, but this woman is clearly insane. I guess she told the police that the demons told her to attack me because I mocked them or something insane like that. Just ridiculous stuff. And I'm sorry. I just don't believe that stuff. I'm only in the area for a few more weeks, and honestly, I may even head back to California now and just try and put this nightmare behind me. I've been in constant communication with my lawyer from the show, and we're trying to figure out what exactly to do about the entire situation. I love horror, and I've always wanted to make a horror movie, but I never intended on starring in a real one. Boom. That was actually a really good story. Holy fuck. I mean, even though it's fucking unfortunate to get bashed over the head by a crazy lady, but still good everything, really. Crazy bee. We need Jesus Christ. You need Jesus Christ. Are you still uploading the Chilling? Haven't heard you promote it in a while. Well, Chilling was very... I'm all on board with Chilling, I will say that, in regards to my support of Chilling. It was just that, like... you guys have asked me many a times if I've, like... if I'm burning myself out, you know what I mean, as far as recording goes, because, I'm putting up 3 videos a week, doing the live streams, that kind of stuff, and it I'm very thankful for it, but it does take its toll on me, I guess, like mentally, as far as the workload goes, because it's tough to keep up with sometimes. And I'm totally on board with the concept of Chilling. I love the idea. I love being scared and everything he's created over there with all the talented people. But my contract was up back in November, and I just took a long think about whether or not I want to continue to make content for it, just because it does take a solid amount of time, because it's like 1 to 2 to 3 hours of content every month in addition, and that's just like once it's edited, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say how long it takes to record. It can be a kind of a daunting task to find time to do it, but then also like the motivation to do it as well. So I just decided not to re-up my contract for that. I might, he said, the door is always open should I decide to come back to it, which I'm very thankful for. And once again, I'm totally on board with Chilling and just what they're crafting over there, and the concept of having a whole different platform that focuses on kind of like the Netflix of horror narration in many ways, Do I ever go on vacation? Not very often, honestly. I don't know. I like vacations, but I don't really like... I don't know. If I were to go on vacation, I almost feel like I'd get bored, I guess. I don't even know. I just feel like I need to keep staying on the move. And then sometimes you go fly somewhere and your sleep is shitty. You're in a new place and you're going through an airport, and then you end up getting sick while you're on fucking vacation, which is like the lamest shit, you know what I mean? Netflix and chills featuring the Burger King foot Ladouce. Give me that Burger King foot Ladouce. Alright, I think this is story 4. The most fun I ever had on vacation, I think, was when I went to VidCon back in 2019, and I was like around other creators. I got to meet some really just, I don't know, it was so cool. It was like just so cool to meet them. And then everyone you were around was like other people that like shared your interests as far as like the world of YouTube. It was like meeting other employees, you know what I mean, that you never had met before, and you were all on the same page as far as your goals go and like what you're interested in, and it was just a fun atmosphere and that kind of thing. So I do hope to go to like more conventions for stuff like that at some point, just for the networking opportunities to meet other creators and see what happens. I don't know if you guys got any cool ones that you've seen on the East Coast or whatnot. I mean, I'll go West Coast too. I'll go really anywhere, I guess. It's just sometimes coordinating a vacation to like maintain the upload schedule is kind of difficult too, you know what I mean? Where you gotta like kind of like record everything ahead of time. The only way I make sure I don't get bored on vacation is by going only 2-3 days. More vacations this way. Well, that's a good point too. Yeah, you could go from place to place. But God, the fucking... Yeah, just that day of travel and then the day of coming back is always such a pain in the wiener. It's fucking... Wake up early in the morning. Go to the fucking place. Go through security. Somebody made a good point where they're like, security, TSA is so fucking strict until you get to like the baggage claim and you're like, all right, pick whatever fucking one you want. We don't care. It's just so stupid. Should go to an animation festival. That would be fun. Yeah, I'd love that. If you guys see any cool ones. If you go to a different country for vacation, where would you go? Probably not Colombia. Probably nowhere in South Africa, out of just like fear of being kidnapped. Probably just Japan. Just go to fucking Japan. There's like no crime and everything's cool there. Go to Greece? What's going on in Greece? The gods have returned. Finally. Do I know Fubu's? No, I don't think I know Fubu's. Is that a YouTuber? Hey Michelle, what's going on? Come look for Squanch up north. Oh, and in Canada? Also, a friend of mine showed me like just how crazy Canada is. Okay, first I want you guys to look. So, okay, current USA population 2022. God, I hate when they can't just give you the fucking answer right out the gate. No. I gotta like go to Google to do it. Whoops. No, Google. It keeps taking me my Gmail. I'm sorry, guys. Google.motherfucking.com. Okay. U.S. population. Okay. 331.9 million. Close to... It'll be interesting when we get 333 million. All right. Now, Canada population. 38.2. Like... literally 300 million less than the United States. But it's like, but most of those people were all congregated near like the various like cities, like Vancouver and what's the one out west that's, I don't know, I forget what it's called. But like most of Canada, just like up north, is just like crazy stone mountainous regions that you just like have no reason to even like look or see what's going on up in there. Or it's just like a bunch of like ice. You know what I mean? Just not like various like ice islands, connecting things, just super remote. I don't know. Canada's kind of fascinating in that way. Canada's a real country. I mean, it's trying. Isn't there 38 million in California? Let's see. California. Yeah, dude, there's more people in California than fucking Canada. There's 39.24 million people in California. That is nuts. All right, next season, if we ever get into a war with Canada, it's California. We're going to send California first. Just 1v1 in everyone. It's going to be sick. Most fun I ever had traveling when I would travel around the country seeing the band 311. Oh, nice, dude. I've seen them 30 plus times in 12 states. So much fun. I made lifelong friends in the process. That's fucking sweet. 311's good. What's New York's population? Let's check. New York population 8.468 million, and that's in 2021. So close to 9 million probably. Interesting. Man, everybody lives in fucking California. I guess it is huge. What about Texas? Texas population. Oh, 29.3 or 0.53 million in Texas. Wow, more people in California than Texas. And Texas is bigger than the entire United States. You saw it's 311 on Halloween one year? That's sick. I didn't even know they were still performing. I did that with 30 Seconds to Mars, followed them for 2 years. Yeah, isn't 30 Seconds to Mars, that's with Jared Leto, right? Doesn't he have like a full-fledged like cult situation going on? A little bit different than the Buttersock cult, but a little bit more involved. Who cares about dumb old Texas? I don't know, I was just curious about how big it was. But hey, there's oil out there, you need that. And there's some pretty good places. I mean, I don't know, I've seen a lot of people coming here from Texas. It's a big state. What about Mexico? I think you guys can Google this, but I'll look it up because I'm curious too. Mexico population. 129 million. Interesting. Oh, you're making a SpongeBob joke? What was the SpongeBob joke? I missed it. Population of Pennsylvania? Let's see. I think it's just me and Pradeep, pretty much. God. Also, good luck spelling Pennsylvania. It's so fucking annoying. Ever since I was younger, it's just like been a pain in the ass. But I do know how to spell Transylvania because of it. Why that's useful, it's not, but Pennsylvania population. Where's this stupid fucking 13 million. It's rookie numbers. We need to pump those numbers up. Lynn with the 2 says, puppy has passed out to your voice, and so am I. Much love. Okay, night, Lynn. Take care. Not seriously a cult? Well, that's good. Does he still travel? Jared Leto for the 30 Seconds to Mars band? That guy just drinks blood, does not age. You're from Allentown. My town is so bad, Billy Joel wrote a song about it. Really? What did Billy Joel write about? I have always found dating hard. It's not from lack of trying, it's just something I wasn't very good at. There were several boys in high school that I liked, but they never liked me. I tried again in college, but same story. It really took a major hit on my self-esteem. I don't think I'm ugly, I'm just a little weird, and guys back then just didn't like that. I'm older now and married, but there was a time when I was desperate, and that desperation also became a matter of life and death. In my senior year of college, the whole virtual meeting thing was getting big on the internet. Websites like Omegle and Chat Roulette were huge. This was way before the Tinder craze or any of those other meetups or dating websites. One night, I finally decided that I was going to try one of those websites and see if I could connect with a boy. I don't even know if those websites exist anymore, and if they do, I hope they don't exist in the same way as before. Without going into explicit details, there were many unsavory things on those websites, and I'll leave it at that. If you're unfamiliar with those sites, basically the idea is great in theory. You get matched with a random video chat with a stranger to talk about anything you want. You can see how they may lead to... Oops. Me and your dad met on Chat Roulette. You live where the dog men are? Where's that at? You can see how that may lead... Wait. You can see how that may lead to things you don't care to see. Anyway, I sat on this Omegle website for hours just being constantly skipped. I would meet someone, talk for a minute or two, and then I would get skipped. Finally, at some god-forsaken time in the middle of the night, I matched up with a boy named Greg. He didn't skip me, and he found me fascinating. We shared just harmless stories about school and life and general interests, but nothing personal. Rule number 1 on the internet is never give away your personal information. I knew that, at least for a little while. We talked for nearly 2 hours in that Omegle chat window, and I was terrified of losing connection, so I finally asked for his number or his Facebook. He said he didn't have Facebook, and this was really before Snapchat or Instagram. They may have been around, but nobody I knew really had them yet. But he did give me his number, and we decided to text instead. I was so excited and happy. I met someone who seemed genuinely interested in me and constantly complimented me, which I realized now was probably a red flag. But when you live your entire life never hearing those compliments, when they come, you kind of forget about the consequences. One of the biggest red flags that I failed to mention earlier was that he didn't want to show his face because he felt embarrassed, but I was so scared of losing connection with him I never pushed it. His chat window was a video of his chest down to his waist, so I could only see his arms and a Nike t-shirt. When we finally started to text, I asked if he could send me some pictures of his face now that we were texting, and he obliged me. He was gorgeous, and not at all what I was expecting. He said the picture was a little older, and that's why he appeared to be skinnier in the picture than he was on the camera. I didn't notice until he said it, but once he did mention it, I did notice a bit of a difference. In fact, the skin color even seemed different, but those old computer cameras were terrible, and he started flattering me again, so my brief moment of concern instantly puffed away. Puffed. It instantly puffed. Pandemonium and Bedlam. Bedlam's a good one. I like the Dogman lore, but not all the ideas trying to find them in Bigfoot. Oh, not the idiots trying to find them in Bigfoot. Dude, we should go to a Bigfoot convention. That would be fucking sick. In fact, the skin color even seemed different, but those old computer cameras were terrible, and he started flattering me again, so my brief moment of concern instantly puffed away. We texted all night and the entire next week. It affected my studies a little bit because I was more concerned with talking to Greg and not doing my homework. After a week of texting nonstop and with my constant begging, I was finally able to get Greg to go on a virtual date night with me, meaning we would video chat on Skype and watch a movie together or something. I just wanted to hear his voice again and not text. He begrudgingly agreed, claiming that he just had bad anxiety, but he would do it for me, his babe, which is what he started calling me. The entire next week leading up to our big date was blissful. He sent me dozens of pictures of that beautiful face and six-pack abs, which I didn't really care about, to be honest. During this week, we also divulged a lot of personal information. I told him where I lived, like exactly where I lived. Obviously, in hindsight, I would never do that again, but we considered ourselves dating, so I didn't really think anything bad about giving him that information, especially because we constantly talked about meeting up one day. Finally, our date night came, and we were supposed to meet on Skype at 8 p.m., and I didn't hear from Greg until about 9:30, which was not like him, but I was just happy he made it. We never got to the movie part of the date because I spent the first hour of the conversation begging Greg to get on camera and microphone instead of just typing in the text box. He finally agreed, and it was the same angle as the night on Omegle when we met, just his torso and his arms. As I really studied his background, he looked somewhere public, almost like a cafe or something, which was weird because it was kind of late at night. I called him out on it, and he said something along the lines of his internet got shut off, so he had to use the Wi-Fi at his local grocery store, which was a big supermarket that was open 24 hours and had a little cafe section inside of the market. It's easy to pick these details out in hindsight, but in the moment, I was blind. I didn't realize that the 24-hour market that he was in looked just like a 24-hour market in my hometown, which also contains a cafe inside. Instead of inquiring about that more, I started to really look at him and then at the pictures on my phone. Things were finally starting to seem a bit weird to me. The boy in the pictures had dirty blonde hair, was skinny, and had very tan, almost sun-soaked skin. The boy I was chatting with on Skype was a lot bigger. His arm hair looked dark, and his skin was very pale, like porcelain doll white. I was not happy about our date night, and now I was uneasy about the entire Greg situation. It only took this long. What? It only took this long? It only took... Oh, what? Hey, Ethan Massa with the 5 says, most channels are boring, but Joel's voice makes my thing go boing. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate you. Boing. They all in the woods banging on the trees and yelling. Who is? Who on them trees banging and yelling? This is probably the most open forum on the internet right now. What, YouTube? Or the trees where you can bang and yell? What's up, Carly? What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Markiplier here. I was not happy about our date night, and now I was uneasy about the entire Greg situation. It only took this. Oh, I see. It's like a little comment at the end. It only took this long. Okay. I was not happy about our date night, and now I was uneasy about the entire Greg situation. It only took this long. I told him to show me his face or that I was hanging up for good, and he agreed. And as he started to lift the camera on his computer, the video feed faded. He started to type in the text box that something happened to his camera and he apologized over and over. I was over it though. We kept talking for a few minutes via the Skype text, but I eventually said that I needed to go. I laid there that night, honestly far more upset than I should have been. This is the first real intimate attention that I'd ever received, so it stung a little bit as foolish as that may seem to some. So it stung a little. Oh, I see. You think Bigfoot is actually real? Yeah, I think so. Maybe in some degree. I mean, there's a lot of people that just have like anecdotal experiences. And the weird thing to me is just like how consistent some of theirs are. Like when Bigfoot peeks in their window, when Bigfoot is like really stinky, when Bigfoot leaves like weird little twigs and shit tied together that look like people out, kind of like on a tree out near their house or something, or on their porch. Sometimes Bigfoot's kind of territorial, so he'll like throw rocks at trees like near you but not like at you. Yeah, Bigfoot deodorant would be nice. At that point you're just like burning off years of like matted poop hair. I don't know what kind of creature it is, because obviously, like, I imagine it's very endangered if it is like a normal animal. Maybe they have Bigfoot meetups or something that they all go have a big Bigfoot orgy at, and they repopulate the earth of Sasquatchians. But I don't know. I think the funniest theory about Bigfoot is a lot of like, you know, conspiracy people think that Bigfoot is like interdimensional, and that Bigfoot has something to fucking do with like the missing 411 people, like he goes underground or he teleports in and out of like spatial reality like fucking Slender Man or some shit. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't like that Bigfoot. I like the Bigfoot who's just a fucking kind of smart, kind of wary like monkey dude, and he's stinky and he just wants to be left the fuck alone, and he's just been hunted to near extinction. And now anytime he sees people, he just makes their camera really shaky because they're nervous. Henry and the Hendersons, yeah, it was a good movie. Or Harry, yeah. Littlefoot went extinct about a dozen direct-to-video films. Yeah, I know. I used to love those Land Before Time films. They were good as shit. I think I watched about 6 of them before I was like, alright, I can't, that's about as much as I can handle as a kid. The Bigfoot butter sock. Haven't seen a mod. Let's party. It's just a naked fat guy who's really hairy. You know, it's certainly a possibility. $6 Million Man versus version of Bigfoot may be truer than fiction. $6 Million Man version? What's that one? Have you seen Spiderwick? I have not, no. You were a Bigfoot friend? What? The OG Land Before Time was the first movie I saw in theaters that made me cry. Yeah, that was a powerful movie. I had that on VHS. It was pretty sick. I ended up on the weird part of YouTube again. Jesus fucking Christ, help me. There's nowhere you can go now, David. You are one with Man Bear Pig. This was the first real intimate attention I had ever received, so it stung a little bit, as foolish as that may have seemed to some who read this. As a senior in my college, I lived off campus and alone in a small one-bedroom left in the attic of a two-family house. What? As a senior in my college, I lived off of campus and alone in a small one-bedroom loft in the attic. Oh, I see. I said left. One-bedroom left. As a senior in my college, I lived off campus and alone in a small one-bedroom loft in the attic of a two-family house. Some point in the middle of the night, I was, of course, awoken. Oh, I see. What the fuck? At some point in the middle of the night, I was, of course, awake doing nothing, and I heard a funny noise coming from the bottom of the stairs. My loft had a staircase that went directly to the front door and bypassed the other two floors where other tenants lived. There was another front door right next to the front door that led to the other two apartments, so there would be no reason for anybody to be jostling my door. I made my way to the top of the landing and stared down to the door and watched as someone was actively trying to open the door. I stood there and held my breath in panic, trying to process these events. It was a college town, so I thought it was possibly that maybe the tenants downstairs had too much to drink and were trying to unlock the wrong door. After a few seconds, the activity stopped. Right at that moment, my phone dinged, and it was Greg asking if I was awake and if I was home. I didn't answer right away because honestly, Greg was the least of my worries. I continued to stare at the door, which had been quiet now for a couple of minutes. My phone dinged again, and surprise, it was Greg. He said something weird, which I now know was his attempt at fishing for information. He said, "I just want to make sure you're safe. I heard in your town that there was a string of break-ins. If you have a spare key outside or something, I would definitely go grab it and bring it inside. You don't want an intruder to find it." Instead of responding to that text, I decided I was going to call him, which I never did, and to my absolute horror, as soon as I pushed send... What? Instead of responding to the text, I decided I was going to call him, which I never did. And then they proceeds to do it. Maybe they're talking about the text message? I don't fucking know. Wolf Drive used to scare the heck out of me as a little kid. I thought all that would happen to my pets. Get eaten by Tyrannosaurus Rexes. Tyrannosaurus Rexi. Instead of responding to that text, I decided I was going to call him. And to my absolute horror, as soon as I pushed send, I heard a ringtone right outside my door. My call was ignored immediately by Greg, and at the same time, the ringtone outside my door stopped. I texted back, "Greg, are you outside my house?" No response. I called and the phone went right to voicemail. My heart was beating out of my chest. I slowly made my way down the stairs. There was a small landing with a closet for storage. On that landing was a small window that I could look out of and see the front door. It was Greg, and he was standing outside my door. I only know it was him because I stared at that stupid Nike shirt for a few hours during our date. And this was not the boy from the pictures. It was a middle-aged man, completely bald. As I stared out the window, I could see him trying to open the door every couple of seconds. I was sitting there holding my breath in tears. I wanted to call the police, but I left my phone upstairs and I was too scared to move. What happened next, I swear to you, is nothing shy of a miracle. Thank God I lived in a college town. The tenant who lived below me was just getting home with her boyfriend. She knew I would never have company like that at the... I love how the scary part for her was that he was completely bald. It's like, and by the way, he was completely bald. Ah, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. Bald, bald, bald. Where's your hair? Where's your hair? Where'd it go? Meow, 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 meow. Sonia with the 10. Hi, Joel. Hope you're having a great first week of the new year. Same to you, Sonia. Thank you so much for the 10. How is your new 2023 going. Mr. Clean is the stuff of nightmares. Yeah, you just look out, it's like a cartoon animated version of himself just out there looking around. Hey, let me in. I have an earring on my ear. Does Mr. Clean have an earring? I really gotta know. I feel like Mr. Clean's got a big hoop earring. It's fucking sexy. She got catfished hard, yeah. Rough. 622 viewers and only 86 likes. Yeah, guys, click that like button if you haven't already. It do be helping. He definitely got a stud. Yeah, I knew he had something. What's Let's Read's real name? I think it's Mr. Clean. Sir Clean here. So fresh, so clean. Yeah, he sneaks into people's houses and clean-ups their crud. Mr. Clean seems the type to have in PA. Guaranteed, dude. We're surrounded by Mr. Cleans everywhere. This whole fucking town is just spotless because of him. It helps a lot, but then he kills a lot of people too. She knew I would never have company like that at that hour of the night. As I stated before, we had 2 separate doors, but the doors were right next to each other, so she witnessed this guy trying to open my door. A brief verbal altercation transpired, and Greg, or whatever his real name was, pushed her boyfriend and sprinted into the darkness of night. And that is when I finally ran down the stairs, opened the door, and gave this girl who I've had maybe 2 conversations with a huge hug and thanked her. She invited me into her place, and we called the authorities right away. I hate to type this next part, but unfortunately they never found Greg. Who he was, where he was from, nothing about him. His phone, Skype, and everything had been faked, and nothing was real about this Greg. There was an investigation and so many red flags when I told the cops all the information. And this was before Catfish the show and before this type of thing even really happened to a lot of other people. I've always refrained from sharing this story for several reasons. First, it was traumatic and I hate to relive it. And secondly, it's hard to believe sometimes and I just hate to put myself out there to be called a liar. So many years have passed now and I have mostly moved on. My husband told me to write this story and maybe it'll reach one person. This is my husband. Beast Kid with the 2s. What did I miss? Sorry for the annoying question. No. Wait, did you ask something that I missed, or was that question? Either way, nothing. Yeah, nothing's annoying to me, to be honest with you. Who's excited for the new Evil Dead in April? Is that when it's coming out? I haven't even seen the trailer. I heard it was like, wasn't it taking a more like serious tone, kind of like an old like James Wan style haunted house situation. Thanks, Dolly girl. Good to see you. So where is this town filled with Mr. Clean Men asking for a friend? You'll never know, because they wiped it off the map. Dun dun. Ba-dum-cha. Ba-dum-cha. My husband told me to write this story, and maybe it'll reach one person, scare them into not giving away any personal information. I apologize for the long story, but I'm happy I finally shared my horrifying experiences. If it wasn't for that Skype date and the off chance that my other tenant coming home when she did, I may not be sitting here writing the story. Be safe, friends. The internet is a scary place. Stream quality is good, so we're good. Somebody said, where's the audio? Presumably it's here. I was going to be on Catfish a few years ago, but the private investigator for MTV couldn't find my Catfish of 6 years to get her to sign liability papers on that. I don't really understand that show. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. But I mean, you know, presumably with a catfish, it's kind of just like something that happens in the moment, you know what I mean? Or I guess it could, like, if you could reflect upon a catfishing story, it's just weird to me that, like, a catfish would just so happen to stick around long enough to catfish someone in real time on a show in a sort of documentary-esque fashion, and then after all of that drama occurring, be cool enough to sign liability forms so that their likeness could be placed on television. Like, all of that just sounds like such a load of rigmarole, you know what I mean? Oh, Pradeep looks very cute behind me right now. Curled up in a little ball. A little ball boy. The internet's got bald people on it. Ah! Jesus fucking Christ! Run! He ain't got no hair! He ain't got no hair! Oh my God! Where's your hair, mister? It's like a little kid. Where's your fucking hair? Did you go bald or something? Would you rip it out from being all stressed out? Did you catfish somebody? Where's your toupee? At least have some respect. Seriously, what's the point of catfishing? Like, they're gonna find out, like, what? Yeah, exactly. Like, if eventually, like, unless it's like I get catfishing if you're gonna kill the person. Not that you should. I'm just saying, like, I understand from the murderer's perspective, because, like, once you get there, it's like, gotcha, bitch. You know what I mean? But, like, if you show up to a situation and, you know, they thought you were gonna be like some 21-year-old stud, turns out you're 45 and fucking bald, and not a stud, and not Mr. Clean. You don't have a stud in your, you know, ear for an earring. They're probably not going to want to take you to Ponderosa or whatever fucking restaurant anymore, you know what I mean? Beast Kid with the 2. What's the funniest child encounter you had? Child encounter? Introducing the Child Encounter Files. If you or a loved one has seen a child, don't stop, don't stare, just run. Was that like when I was a child, maybe? Funniest thing that happened to me as a kid. I can't even fucking remember. There's so much random shit from kidhood. From back in the hood of being a kid. Thanks, Dolly. Beast Kid with the 2 interaction I meant. No, you're not dumb. Do you mean like as a kid interacting with somebody else, or like funny things that I've interacted with a kid? I mean, like, all my friends' kids are hilarious. Like, they're just, I don't know. I just feel like kids are getting funnier, and I think it's because of like social media, and in many ways social media is bad, but like all the memes that are just like readily available to like every kid, that just, you know what I mean? Like when you learn about comedy, you know, when I was younger, I had to learn about comedy through like a stupid fucking show on Nickelodeon and kind of build off that. Or I had older brothers who were funnier and consumed different media and like learned comedy from them, you know. Or maybe you had like a fucking grandpa who was funny as shit, you know, you pull his finger and he shits his pants or something. But like, I feel like nowadays, what's that one stupid fucking meme where it's like, bottom time slopper, or I don't know, like everything's just like, it's got to be like absolute ADHD all over the fucking place memes, otherwise people are not paying attention. Oh, a group of middle schoolers are usually psychos. Well, that's a good point. That brings up a memory when I was in New York City, and I was eating at this diner. Yeah, like the darndest thing a kid has said. Well, thank you for the 2 Beast Kid. Sorry, yeah, you don't have to donate every time to update. You can just at me, no big deal. But thank you so much. I went to a diner in New York City. I feel like I was in like Manhattan or some shit, and like I was just sitting there eating, like, I don't even know, it was like orange chicken over rice, but it was so fucking good. Like, it was just some shitty diner where like when you go to use the restroom, you're like shitting next to the fucking, chef in the back. He's just like trying to pretend he doesn't see you, and you're trying to pretend you don't see him. But there was some fucking kid, and when I went back to sit down with my friend, and we were like near the windows looking out into the street, and him and these punk kids on skateboards or some shit, they just come up, the one's got his shirt off, and he just like presses his face up against like the fucking glass and is like, nah, nah, like licking the fucking glass. And I'm just like trying to, but he's like, it's trying to be like intimidating at the same time, like scary. And it was just like it was kind of hilarious because I knew, I'm like, this is a great story, but at the same time, it's just like what the fuck is going on in New York? Maybe the whole glass is just made out of LSD and he's trying to get high as shit. Joel, you're my dad. I know, Chris. How are you? How are you, son? Son, return home. It's dinner time. We're having milk and cigarettes. Are you Travolta? I hope so. A few years ago, I went on probably the weirdest and most disturbing date of my entire life. At the time, I kind of just thought that she was crazy, and I moved on with my life afterwards. It wasn't until I told this story over the last few months that I realized just how uneasy and potentially dangerous this story is. Whenever I tell friends or family about my date with Amanda, they scold me for not taking legal action or pursuing the law in any way. At the time, I was living in a city that was close to 2 hours away from my hometown, which is where I reside now. I was on the fence about moving home, but thought that I found a nice girl to date that... Shit. Have you seen Barbarian? No, I've heard of it. Is it good? That's the one where they like go down into the fucking subterranean layer of like some house, right? It seemed pretty creepy. You lost your sense of smell and taste permanently from COVID. Fuck, permanently? Really? Holy Christ. What's my plans in life once I'm 40 plus? Fuck, I have no idea. Probably just doing the same shit. Hopefully, maybe I'll be married by that point or something, or at least have kids. I feel like I gotta at least have kids in my 30s or whatever, just to have some type of like responsibility to keep me like sane. You know what I mean? Do you ever notice like celebrities that don't have kids? Not saying I'm a celebrity, but like you get on Twitter and you see like the most like fucking off the wall like psychopath celebrities who are bitching about something or like saying people should die and stuff tend to like not have any children, and you're just like, I'm putting two and two together here, and I'm starting to think that like they don't really care if the world gets any better. You know what I mean? Like, but I think there's like some sort of powerful aspect of like having that responsibility of a child that like keeps you from turning into a complete self-centered sociopath. But who knows? Maybe there's no correlation there. How many kids do I want? Fucking at least, I don't know, at least two to four maybe. I don't fucking know. At least two, I feel like, because then they could like hang out with each other and shit. I feel like even though I had older brothers, they were a lot older to the point where they moved out, and I was just kind of like, I found that I was often sort of a solo kid growing up a little bit. Venikins art with the 5 says, Hola, boop snoots for Pradeeps, need a sick laugh. Funny med nursing stories, please. Oh, shoot. All I can really think about is just disgusting diarrhea all the time. I do remember they would, like, at the cafe downstairs, they would make pizza soup. And I remember people would be excited for fucking pizza soup at the cafeteria. And I was just thinking, like, that's, like, it sounds kind of good. I don't think I ever had it. But it also just sounds like guaranteed to, like, run through you harder than fucking Taco Bell, you know what I mean? How long's the live go for? We usually go for like 2 to 3 hours or so. It's about 2 right now. 2 hours, that is. I was in nursing school. Yeah, I was a nurse for a while before being a scary guy on the internet. And not related to narration. Bing bong gong. How many stories left? I believe we got 3, including this one. Reminds you to take some laxatives. Good. Were you a CNA or I was an RN? Yeah. You're talking about being a grandpa in your 30s. Maybe Pradeep will provide you grandkitties. Yeah, hopefully. He needs to get out there, put himself out there. As of now, he only has sex with a blanket, which I don't think genetically really works out, but we'll see. Do you ever watch the animations that channels make the stories you read? I have, yeah. I'm not a huge fan because I just think the animation is kind of dog shit because they all use the same like program and it just seems like really, really low effort. And I remember there was a few channels where they would like, as soon as I would release a video, they would take all of the stories from my video, put it on their channel, like instantaneously. And it was just like, bro, it's pretty fucking clear that you put 0 effort into this and that you're just kind of like piggybacking off of this shit, which I understand. Like sometimes that's just the way of the world with YouTube and shit. But at the same time, you know, it was just fucking like, you know, my shit didn't even have time to like stew, you know what I mean, for people to, because I told them specifically like only use a few of them so it motivates people to come over and see the video, but they would just take like all of them and it was just like, Jesus, fart. You got distracted drawing, that's okay. Putting in the work. I don't think, was it Mort? I don't think Mort did it? I don't fucking know. I just, yeah, no hard feelings, you know what I mean? It's just like sometimes you have to like really, like people are motivated by money, you know what I mean? They're motivated by advertising revenue and money and they want to like do it as quick and fast as possible. And I understand that, you know what I mean? But like sometimes it's just a little bit offensive when you steal everything, you know? How's my beautiful black cat of mine? He's good. He actually just got up and wandered out, I think. He rubbed into my leg briefly to say goodbye. Who would you love to collab with? Honestly, just anybody, you know. Maybe like your mom or something. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Did I work in the ER? I did not. No, thankfully. That shit seemed like a pain in the wiener. Just dealing with the constant chaos. Though they did seem to have a lot more freedom than where I worked at was as far as stuff. Yeah, my videos fucking slay. Beast Kid, whatever, do gaming and love to watch. You know, you probably, if you go back on the streams playlist, you probably would find some video games from back then that I played. The one that I did, like Layers of Fear, pretty funny actually. Like some of my reactions in that are actually kind of funny because it was actually a scary game, and I'm like a big scaredy cat. I've got the ears and everything, and like yeah. So I did do gaming videos back in the day, but you know, that just wasn't to be on the channel, I don't think. And I remember it was so funny, like somebody back a long time ago, I remember them leaving a comment and they specifically said when I posted a Let's Play video, because I thought, oh, I've got enough following, maybe I can do a Let's Play and like pop off from that. They said, please don't do this, you're ruining your channel. And at the time, I was like, fuck you, bro. I'm not ruining my channel. I'm fucking doing what I want to do on my channel. And that is that. But then I'm just like, wait a second. I was absolutely ruining my channel because it was like everyone was, you know, under the interpretation that I was a narrator. And all of a sudden I start playing fucking Five Nights at Farties. And it's like, what is this bullshit, you know? Mod used timeout. It was ineffective. Bring back Let's Plays. I mean, it would be fun actually to stream. I don't even know. Like, oh, dude. Well, first off, Ambrose, thank you for 2 months in the Buttersock cult. It says, cute guy I met on Reddit, agreed to a virtual date. Hope y'all are having a splendid night or whatever time it is in your time zone. Oh shit, nice. Yeah, hopefully it's not Greg. We just read a story about Greg, and that did not go great for either party, really. Hey, Sasha, take care. Start a second channel for gaming. Yeah, I just don't really have enough time, you know what I mean? I barely have enough time. I couldn't even have enough time to do the chilling app thing to do complete gaming and stuff. I still like really need to like make a fucking voice character reel soon, but I just like the days, they just go by so goddamn fast. Do you think Minecraft is scary at times? I remember, yeah, when I played Minecraft, it gets scary like when you're down below and it's like and all you're like that shit, and you're like, oh shit, it's the fucking creeper, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and it just explodes. But yeah, so I was telling you about this game that I played, and I don't know if you guys have played the game Limbo, or if you have played Inside from, what the hell is that company called, like Dead something Games or whatever. Anyways, apparently half of that sort of crew, of the creative minds on that crew that made the games Limbo and Inside, went and started a new company called Jump Ship. And yeah, Inside and Limbo, love those games. And it's crazy because Limbo was like one of the first games that were like in the concept of like indie games, where you didn't need like a big corporation to make a game, but they were like being, put on like the Xbox Live like store and that kind of thing, and it was sick. And then Inside was a fucking, I love that game. The game, like the end of that game is just so much fun, and it's great. But then, so that's they split up for creative differences. I don't fucking know why, and I don't. There's like what creatively could you have differences on a fucking side-scrolling puzzle game? Yeah, Little Nightmares and 1 and 2 are fantastic. Those are some of my favorite games, and that's why I was so excited for this game called Somerville to come out, right? And so this game Somerville came out in like November, and it's from like the second half of that crew from those games. So I thought it was going to be like right up my alley, and I play it, and it, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but like long story short, it was just not great. It was just not super, not, you know what I mean, like the puzzles were just silly. The it never really advanced anywhere. The abilities that you had were kind of like just boring and just repetitive, and the story, like as soon as you think the story's about to take off, you're like, oh shit's getting wild, it's just over. The credits start rolling and you're like, what the fuck? And I guess like Limbo and Inside kind of had similar feelings, but I feel like Inside was, I don't know, you just expected, since it's the third in the series in a sense, even though the company is not together anymore, or like is a little broken up, and it was what I call like a COVID game. There was a lot of COVID games, and during COVID everyone's like doing production from home. They're like super behind schedule. They're all like, everyone's dying. I don't fucking know. They're exploding into piles of shit. And it was probably really hard to make a game as a studio during COVID, especially like as a newer studio. So, I'll give them that. But yeah, overall, I would still play it if you're interested in that kind of game, but it just like it was just a huge kind of like sad letdown, and I don't know. But I love indie games. I love just seeing what people can make and shit, because it's just, I don't know, it's crazy to me. Vennigans with the 2 says, for old sake, please say, it's old Greg. I have some Baileys. Want to try some? It's old Greg. I'm old Greg. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I haven't heard it. I'm old Greg. Do I like screamo music? Like, oh, yeah. Not really. I don't dislike it. Like, it definitely has its uses. Like, if you're in a mosh pit or you're trying to like lift heavy weight, but like just by myself, I'm just not really vibing with that kind of stuff. I like electronic, experimental, weird shit. Beast Kid with 5 says, play Minecraft again, fight the Warden. That would be funny as hell. What's the Warden? Is that like the Endor Dragon? That sounds like Cleveland Brown. I'm old Greg. Maybe they're the same voice. I need some Baileys. Oh, I guess he's kind of deeper. I need some Baileys. Yeah, Mongolian throat singing. Yeah, dude, I love Mongolian throat singing. It was. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't fucking know, but I like the Throat Boys. That's like their band name. Mongolia and the Throat Boys. Like Star Wars. You know, I used to like Star Wars, but the newer ones are kind of dog shit, and like there's no leadership anymore, which is sad amidst, you know, the crew. Like, you know, I guess it was George Lucas was the leader of, you know, the creative person behind everything, and obviously things kind of went off the wall a little bit with the prequels, but I still feel like those were actually like good compared to the more recent trilogy. And then with the more recent trilogy, like the first one wasn't bad, and you kind of thought they had something figured out. And then, you know, and then it was like, then they got a new director who completely fucked everything up. And then what's his name had to come back, you know, to J.J. Abrams to try to fix stuff, but then he fucked it up more. And it was just like, all right, whatever. Star Wars sucks. Like, just dude, from now on, I'm telling you, just literally let some random nerd on the internet write, like, just trick them. Trick the nerds on the internet to write your script for you on Reddit or something, and then just copy paste that shit to the new fucking movie or show or whatever you're trying to do. Because I don't know. I've had about a fucking enough of Hollywood absolutely shitting on every, you know, series that people held like sacred, and then just like pretending that it's fine and that they're bad people if they don't like it or something. It's just like you're gonna be homeless. You're gonna be homeless soon if you continue to fucking just like make absolute donkey dick shows. Like, it sucks. Don't knock the prequels. They were a little, we gotta be honest, they're a little hit or miss, but I do like the concepts that they provided in a lot of ways. And they, you know, I think just the more side project stuff, you know, like Knights of the Old Republic and shit like that, you know what I mean, were just fun to kind of dig into and just have your experience. Why don't I like the prequels? Well, they are interesting. I would have liked to have seen them actually play Jar Jar out in a way that he was a Sith Lord. That would have been preferable. But it, you know, similar to the other ones, it was just like the politics and the melodrama of things. You know, Anakin always being mad about everything. I just love you. I love you so much. And you don't know why they love each other. It was just like between the movies they fell in love. It was like just implied, but he was just like so upset all the fucking time. It's like, dude, you're so annoying. Like, just show fucking Yoda jumping from lily pad to lily pad, killing, you know, Palpatine or some shit. Almost to 950K. I know, we're getting there. In the comic books, he had a good death. Oh, really? They killed Jar Jar? Snoke was such a joke. Yeah, dude, that was the worst thing. They should have had him. Yeah, should have had him Darth Plagueis or whatever, but instead, he was a throwaway villain who was apparently cloned over and over again. Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, Snoke was supposed to be something important. Okay, there were so many things I had, like, in my head going into that movie. And I understand you're not always going to get what you want, and that's reasonable. But you kind of just, like, through rules of deduction, kind of, like, anticipate based on previous lore, like, using your generic detective skills. Oh, maybe this is going to be it. Like, I literally thought Star Destroyer was going to be in this fucking thing, and that he was going to be, you know, the prodigy to the follow-up to Vader or whatever. I don't know why. There was a vibe there that from different little screenshots that I was figuring out from, like, Force Unleashed. I was like, maybe. And then, yeah, Snoke was revealed, and I was like, oh my god, Darth fucking Plagueis. Like, he's resurrected. He's back. He's not Jar Jar Binks anymore. He's fucking here to make shit happen. And then they just cut him in half, and it was just like... And then, you know, even the idea that, like, I thought, like, the main girl Rey and then Kylo Ren were gonna, like, team up or some shit, or I don't fucking know. They just continued their old banter, and it was just like, I don't fucking know. And it's just like, come on, like, when you put so much money into something, like, say, the Lord of the Rings, like, Rings of Power bullshit, when you put $1 billion motherfucking dollars into something, if I'm Steve Jobs or whoever's in charge of Amazon, I would be so fucking mad. I would be so fucking mad, dude. Like, I would be so angry. Like, I just wasted a fortune, like an absolute fucking life-changing fortune, on a show to just take a large piss and shit and cum and fart and everything, boogers, just every possible goo that could come out of a human body, it is just now on top of like Tolkien's grave. And I just don't understand, like, why, why couldn't, where's the leadership, where's like the quality control, you know what I mean, where's the person that references the fucking source material? Like, Jesus Christ, like, you don't have to be that intelligent to just like go onto Reddit and steal somebody's fucking fan fiction, and they would be happy. They would get these are the fans. They would get on their knees and they would lick your toes and they would say, "When's season 2? Oh my God, I'm such a nerd. Please, gimme." But no, you're just like, you hate them? You hate them? How can you hate them? They don't even shower. Like, just fucking be nice to them or something like that. Give them what they want and milk them for all they're worth. Like, it's just so fucking simple, dude. Like to me, I'm just like, Hollywood is trying to self-implode. I genuinely think what's happening right now is Hollywood is trying to destroy itself just over a period of time. And then once it's destroyed, some, group, some nefarious group in the background is going to come in and buy all that influence up for pennies on the fucking dollar because everyone's bankrupt, and then they start, providing YouTuber level quality, content or something. I don't fucking know. It's a weird world we live in right now as far as entertainment goes. But David De La Rosa with the 2, thank you so much. They ruined Star Wars. Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. It's alright. You know what it is, though? You know what's cool, though? You know what's the coolest thing about all of this? You know what really grinds my gears? Is all that means to me is that more people are just going to come to fucking YouTube. More people are just going to come to fucking independent creators. More people are going to start independent video game studios and making cool little indie bullshits that they can experiment with new ideas and all that kind of nonsense, because, like, people that genuinely care about their audience, that genuinely care about the content that they're producing, like, it's just going to open up a hole in the market that is otherwise, could be filled pretty easily by these mega studios, but now they're gonna seem like bullshit compared to just like listening to fucking Joe Rogan rant about apes on a fucking podcast for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like, that to people feels more authentic than the nonsense that, like, you got to go through 9,000 filters on $1 billion fucking show. So, you listen to podcasts yourself? I listen to random shit that pops up on YouTube, like suggested stuff. I like to listen to philosophy. People talk about philosophy and like things of that nature. Hey, Mega. Beast Kid with the 5 says, I felt the same way for the Uncharted movie, how hard it is to accurately cast the characters and how hard to film along the storylines of the game. Yeah, that's the weird thing is, like, video game movies, and this isn't even more of a recent thing, this has just been going on forever. Like, it just seems as if though it's like, I've always described it as like the producer is like, walks in, their kid's on their Wii U or some shit. They're on their Wii. They're on their Nintendo system. They're like, what you playing there, sonny? And he's like, it's Mario. And then they fucking, kind of like stare at it for interesting. Oh, he's jumping in pipes, huh? Oh, he's going to get Donkey Kong, I bet, or something. And then he walks out of the room and he's like, Jerry, I've got a great fucking idea for a movie. It's from a video game my grandson, and then it's just like, then they just like, okay, what's it all about? And they're like, I don't fucking know, but we're gonna figure it out, I think. And fucking completely bastardize it. It's so fucking dumb, dude. Like, how, like, it's just at this point, if you're making a video game movie, I'm just gonna assume it's gonna be Assassin's Creed, but it takes place on fucking Mars. Like, none of it makes any sense. Now you want to hear me rant about the MCU, man? I don't know. Like, I haven't watched. I mean, even whenever like movies weren't completely going down the shitter, I was pretty critical of them in general, just because there was what else whenever you live a life of fucking decadence here in the West, like what else are you supposed to do other than bitch? You know what I mean? So it's like, whenever I went and saw the Avengers movie back in the day, because it was like, you know, all the people they've got the timeline figured out. Because I remember, dude, it was back in like 2004. You know, I think they were talking about Iron Man, and then all of a sudden it was like they had a fucking timeline of all the movies now. And I remember being blown away. I was in 8th grade, and I was like, holy fuck, they're gonna make movies all the way up to the year 2012. Oh my god, they got this shit fucking planned out, bro. Who the fuck is Ant-Man? You know, and you're excited about this shit. And then now it's just like, I don't know, they've just gone so far down a fucking, you know, rabbit hole of feces that it's just, you're stuck. You're just stuck in, you know, just a gooey knoll in the side of a mountain, and you're just lost down there, and you're just trying to weasel your way out because you thought that this was the path forward, but it wasn't, you know. And, you know, I always kind of thought a lot of those movies were a little bit corny, you know, especially when it was just like fucking, you know, superhero movie number 368, the bad guy loses. Like, it's just, the storylines are kind of repetitive, and I don't really give a fuck about some dude flying around in a suit anymore. You know, you grow up with Tad and all that kind of stuff. You know, you take the binky out of your fucking mouth and you stop shitting your pants and you go watch porn or something. No, I'm just kidding. But like, it's, I don't know, it got old early. But yeah, as far as the MCU now, it's like I don't even waste my time going and seeing the movies because I just know what it's going to be about. Like, I remember going and seeing Thor Ragnarok, and I liked that because I realized very quickly, I was like, oh dude, you know, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, they came out around the same time, and it was fucking fun. They were fun movies that did the action. They were like comedy movies, just, you know, disguised as action movies or whatever here, you know, superhero movies. And to me, that's the perfect way to keep my dumb little brain occupied. I'm like, okay, tell me jokes in between the fighting and the shooting of the gooey webs. Like, just keep, you know, while I shovel popcorn into my gullet, like just keep the dopamine coming. Just boop ba ba boop ba bee ba, you know. And like, then I don't know. I just heard that the other ones, like, there is nothing I fucking hate more in a superhero movie when they try to make me feel bad that someone's dead. Like, I don't care. I hope fucking Iron Man got smushed in that rock. I literally have zero emotional connection to any of the characters in the fucking thing. I just want to giggle. I just want to see something different. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, I'm excited. Like, whenever what's-his-name snapped his fingers and just made half the fucking population disappear. Like, that was great to me. You know what I mean? But yeah, see, I didn't see Love and Thunder Thor, but I heard it was complete poop shit, so it is what it is, my man. Chris Hemsworth has the Alzheimer gene. Is it just like one gene, or is it like, I mean, I don't know, the way you said that, it made it seem like he's got it now, like it's there, right? It's like at his door. But I'm sure he'll be good for at least another 35 years or something like that. Of course, I remember having a patient who was like 50, and she had really bad Alzheimer's, and that was the saddest shit ever, because she was like, just imagine, like, you know, you're, I don't know, high school 20s, and your friend has a mom, and then that mom, you know, is just all confused all the time, you know what I mean? But like in a nice way, like laughing, like, because I remember her coming out and like, she's like, hey, where am I? And I'm like, oh, you're in the hospital, sweetie. And she's like, and then I kind of like started to laugh a little bit, not like making fun of her, but it was just like she had a bit of a smile on, so I smiled and kind of laughed, and then she started laughing, and it was just kind of like one of those moments. She's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's fine, I guess. And she just like wandered back into her room. I'm like, there you go. That's how it should. That's how I hope Chris Hemsworth ends up. Joel's the next Marvel villain. I hope so, man. I'd be perfect for it. I can snap my fingers real fast. Everybody's fucking gone. I was on the fence about moving home, but thought if I found a nice girl to date that maybe I would stick around in the city for a little while longer. On a cold Saturday night, I met a lively woman named Amanda outside of the casino. Fuck. On a cold Saturday night, I met a lively woman named Amanda outside of the casino in my hometown. At first, I'll admit she wasn't my type. She was loud and in your face, but for some reason I was into it on this night. I asked if I could buy her a drink and she accepted. She was a wild girl, and honestly, I had loved it at the moment. We spent the entire night at the casino partying and having a good time, and we ended up grabbing a room at the casino that night. The next day, we went our separate ways but exchanged numbers so we could set up another date. I decided to put my plans to move home on hold since last night went so well. We set up a date for a couple of days later. I was excited and ready to go on a real date with Amanda and get to know the real person behind the wild girl at the casino. Sorry, I had a bit of a burp in my throat. The only fake Canadians are the ones from Prince Edward Island. Where's that at? I don't think is that like super north in the northeast? What's the right at for Joel? It should be Let's Read, but what's up? At Let's Read Podcast. At. Is there something you wanted to tell me? Near Brunswick. The burp adds character. Oh, there he is. Pradeep comes down. God damn it, dude. I see him walk in the room with a little... Can you hear it? You hear him freaking the fuck out? He walks in the room with a little mouse thing in his mouth, and he's like, I love it because it's so funny. He's like trotting away. But as soon as he drops it, it just sends him on like a frenzy of just fucking swatting it around. Here's some mouse ball ASMR. A mouse testicle toy, yeah. I gave him my own. I figured he deserved it. He always wanted them anyway, so. What breed of cat do I have? I don't really know if he's a breed. He's just black, you know? He's just goddamn midnight. He is the void. Do 30 push-ups. Right now, I could. Oh, but then I'll be breathing so hard for the story, and it takes forever for me to get my breath back because I'm a stink. Canada also has Rattlesnake Island. Yes, is exactly what it sounds like. Damn. Is it like... I feel like that's interesting. I feel like they wouldn't be that far north unless it's like maybe closer to the border of the U.S., but... How does one get to chat with at Let's Read? You're doing it right now, homie. How old is Pradeep? He is 8 years old, which is funny because, I mean, like somebody told me their cat was fucking like, oh, he's an old one. He's 10. I'm like, bro, I guess that's old, but like Pradeep's 8 and he still acts like a silly little kitty boy. I'm actually going to be on the Sandbox live stream Saturday. I'm kind of nervous, but Sandbox live stream? Really interesting. What is that? I've never heard of them before. What do they do? Oh, it's on the West Coast in Canada. Okay, yeah, sweet. I'll have to check that out. Write it down. Get a ticket to Rattlesnake Island. I was told to come here. Your cat is 17. Your cat lived to 19. I don't know. I just got a feeling Pradeep's going to live fucking forever. Like... To the point where I'm like, holy shit, man, 30? Shouldn't you be thinking about meeting God? No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. He just seems like a 30. He's going to be 30. That's the vibe I get. I'm going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records of World Kitties. All right. I was excited and ready to go on a real date with Amanda and get to know the real person behind the wild girl I met the other night. The date I got was something I'll never forget, and made me wish that I had the girl from the casino back. We sat down and made a little bit of small talk before she started with her antics. We haven't even ordered our food yet, and she said, "Do you want to see what our children will look like?" I laughed nervously because I thought she was kidding. I asked in a nervous but stern voice, "Did you say our children? What does that mean?" Without hesitation, she pulled out her bag. The bag was one of those giant purses that I felt like you could fit a child in if you wanted to. And from the bag, she pulled out notebooks, pictures, and all sorts of other books and things. She started to present the pictures on the table like I was looking at colors to paint a room or something. She had all these digital photos printed on beautiful cardstock of what a digital AI rendering of our children would look like. I was freaked out, but still half thought that this was some kind of sick joke, I guess. While showing me these photos, she then opened up all the notebooks containing all of her wedding ideas and planning and photos of the dresses she likes. She started saying things. Bo with the 5 buckaroonies says, "Love your lives. Feel like I'm getting the bang for my buck. I'd rather tune you on than watch a movie. Do you watch BA? BA, what is that?" The only shows I've recently watched were just like, they were basically the same show, but they were good. Was The Boys and Invincible. And I thought they were good shows. Invincible was kind of like The Boys always kind of made me feel like there was something interesting happening in the plot. Invincible was just kind of fun because it reminded me of just like, I just imagine somebody my age who fucking grew up watching Batman animated series or the Superman show, was just told that they can make a show similar to that and that it can say bad words and there can be violence, and they were like, "Fucking sweet, dude, I'll do that, dude. Oh fuck." But yeah, I haven't really watched a lot of stuff, but yeah, what is BA? Just so you know, my baby falls asleep to your channel, so now you cornered the mom markings. There you go. Thank you, I appreciate you. We've got generations of listeners coming up. Millions and millions more subscribers down the pipeline. You know the guy who voiced Superman on Justice League? That's awesome. Oh yeah, you mentioned that person. The Boys and Invincible were the 2 shows I was told to watch. Only seen The Boys so far and forgot about it, so I'll go finish it now. Heck yeah, The Boys, I'm excited for season 4, and like, it's an interesting thing for me, because like, when people ask me if I watch shows, I just always am like, no, I don't. I just don't. You know what I mean? So like, actually being able to like tell someone like, oh yeah, I've seen that shit, and I'm excited for the next one. You feel semi-normal actually telling them that you partake in the same media. Did you watch a lot of Cartoon Network when you were younger? You just give, oh yeah, dude, fucking nonstop, just back and forth. It was channel 44 and it was channel 43. Just boom, 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 boom. Fucking Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. And then channel 41 was Disney, right down to fucking Disney. Just fucking all day. Just shoveling corn dogs down my fucking throat and just like eyes glued open to whatever SpongeBob was on. And the cool thing too is like back in the day, like, I don't know, it was nice because Cartoon Network never stopped showing stuff, whereas I wasn't like a huge fan of Nick at Night, and they would always have, this was before, they would have just, adult sitcom shows come on, which as a kid I found them painfully boring, you know what I mean, and I still do to an extent, but like, at least with Cartoon Network, you would get on and it would just be like old school fucking Tom and Jerry or Daffy Duck bullshit, you know what I mean? Adult Swim, yeah. As soon as I got into like middle school, high school, Adult Swim was amazing. Holy crap, I should have gone to sleep hours ago. Going to try and break away now. Have a good night, everyone. Hey, see ya, Chrissy. Peace out. That background is super relaxing. Thank you. Yeah, Robin made it. Did you like Courage the Cowardly Dog? I did, yeah. I would watch Courage a lot. Though when I was younger, I wasn't like a huge fan of this character in the sense that like I felt like he was weak a lot of the times, and it always kind of frustrated me. And I understand that like characters can be weak and they overcome stuff or whatever, but it was almost like, because there was no continuation. I mean, he literally was Courage the Cowardly Dog. I get it. But I remember just being, as a kid, like, semi-frustrated. Like, come on, you fucking idiot. Like, do something. Do something impressive. Especially whenever, like, the old man kept giving him crap. I'm like, dude, just fucking take out that guy's knees with a bocce ball fucking stick. The 30-hour video of the screen and the members' content knocked me out so hard. That's awesome. I'm glad it did. That's, yeah. I try to do a little bit of, like, random stuff in the members' stuff sometimes if I don't have time for further narration, but return the slab or suffer my curse. Gotta remember to clean that tardy hat before you get there, yeah. And remember, clean your tardy hat. Yeah, Toonami was the best. I mean, it was like 5th grade, I think it was. Just like every day of 5th grade, come home and into 6th grade, which is crazy when you're younger. Like, a year can seem like forever and, like, you know, can be defined by one thing. And I would honestly say that my 5th grade year was defined by just coming home, turning on fucking Toonami like the instant that I could, and watching, like, you know, Dragon Ball Z was the big one. Like, I just had to fucking watch Dragon Ball Z. I had to know what the fuck happened when they finally killed, you know, Frieza, when they finally killed Cell, all that kind of shit. It's just, you know, as a kid, you just explode inside. You're like, this is fucking awesome. I waited 9 episodes just for him to say his special attack, and he finally did it. She started saying things like, when we get married, and at our wedding, and that's when I cut her off. I felt horrible, but this got way out of hand fast. I thought I handled it nicely and gently, but she apparently thought otherwise. I said in a calm, rational voice, Amanda, I think you're great, but this is way too much for me. I don't even know you yet. I mean, you have to admit, it is a little creepy, isn't it? Amanda froze in place and stared at me with rage bellowing out of her eyes. I could see her turning red and even starting to shake. She screamed a certain cuss word that I'm going to refrain from writing here and threw her water at me. She packed her bag and left. It was embarrassing, but I was happy that it ended quickly and I didn't have to drag it out any longer. That night when I got home, I told my parents. Miss Rocker Red, good to see ya. What's poppin'? Adult Swim nowadays is so cringy. Watching Adult Swim doesn't necessarily make one mature. Rick and Morty is obnoxious and Justin Roiland is a deranged outlaw, yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched Adult Swim in a while, so I wasn't sure what that was. I know they still kind of basically brought back Toonami again. Almost like as a way to, like, appeal to the audience that, you know, the millennials that kind of hung on to that stuff. But I have not watched Adult Swim in quite some time. It was embarrassing, but I was happy that it ended quickly, and I didn't have to drag it out any longer. That night when I got home, I told my parents that I would be moving home soon. My date with Amanda was the last straw, and then I was going to be done with the city for this stage of my life. I dozed off early on the couch watching some football game, and when I woke up, I had over 20 missed calls from Amanda. By the time I processed just how extreme that was, I had been alerted to a loud banging coming from my bedroom. I made my way slowly down the hall, only to reveal Amanda was there, in my bedroom. She was bending over in my closet as if though she was looking for something. I barged into the room and screamed, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" She jumped because I startled her, and she ran over and gave me a hug. And in a voice almost of desperation, she said, "Oh, thank God you're okay. I was so worried about you." I threw my hands up and squirmed my way out of her hug. Instead of losing my mind or calling the police, which I should have done, I just screamed to get out of my apartment. I did say if she ever came back, I would call the police, even though I never did. She put her hands up, started to cry, and ran out of the apartment. I was really freaked out that she had got into my apartment in the first place somehow. Feeling uneasy, I called my parents and told them that I was coming back that night. I was done with the city and that apartment. I figured that I would just go back and get my stuff another time. Once I got home after the long drive, I couldn't stop thinking about how Amanda got into there. God, I hate whenever writers keep saying, I know it's such a silly thing, but repeating the same word over and over again, got into the apartment, dip dip dip, the apartment, rip dip dip, the apartment. It just feels so weird. You can make a fucking drinking game out of it, you know what I mean? Just saying, I don't typically recommend shows, so if y'all like The Boys, check out Imperfects. It's worth the time. Alright, yeah. It's because somebody mentioned Invincible to me because of The Boys, so Imperfects. So, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just exclusively watch various deviations of The Boys. Imperfects. What's up, Carla? Once I got home after the long drive, I couldn't stop thinking about how Amanda got into the place and what she was doing in the closet. Those questions bothered me for weeks. And in the few weeks that I was home before going back to the city to get my things, I had received dozens of calls from Amanda that I ignored, and they eventually stopped. When we got back to my place to pack my stuff up and leave, the door was unlocked. It was shut tight but unlocked, and I always lock my door. Upon walking inside, nothing seemed to be stolen, at least nothing I noticed right away. The first place I went to look when I got inside was the closet. On the floor in the closet was a knife and some duct tape, 2 items that did not belong to me. I turned as white as a ghost, but of course I didn't report it. We packed my stuff and we left the city for the last time. I never heard from Amanda again. Sorry. I don't know why. My throat's being weird. We're watching Servant right now. Just started season 2. Servant. What's that all about? I never heard from Amanda again, and I had no idea what she intended to do that evening. If I did, it was randomly capitalized. I never heard from Amanda again, and I had no idea what she intended to do that evening if I didn't scare her that night into dropping those items. Oh, it was a period. It's confusing as fuck. No, this is Patrick. I never heard from Amanda again, and I had no idea what she intended to do that evening. If I didn't scare her that night into dropping those items, who knows what could have happened. I've always told this story at parties when people start talking about bad dates or things like that, and for a while now, people have been telling me to write this, stating that I'm potentially lucky to be alive. To anybody reading this story about my horrible date with Amanda, I hope your date went better than mine. Have you ever had a stalker? Yup. My virtual date. My date with Amanda. The church date. Oh, here we go. Makes it easier when it's organized by topic. Yeah, Jay was the stalker. It was a very pleasant stalker. Bap, 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 boop, boop, bap, bap. You had a stalker, a psycho ex. Yeah, people, I don't know, man. I don't know what gets in people's heads where they just feel like they own somebody. It's fucking weird. Just let it go, bro. Let it go. Focus on you. Last summer, I broke up with my girlfriend for good. We had been on and off again for years. It just wasn't a compatible match. We had tried everything we could think of to make the relationship work, but when your heart just isn't in it, it's impossible to make it work. Instead of listening to my gut and just moving on, we agreed to go on one more date. A date to serve as a last-ditch effort to see if all the spark is truly gone. We agreed on a time and I picked her up. We had dinner at our favorite spot and everything was just fine. There never was any bad blood between us, and towards the end of our dinner, seashells. There was never really any bad blood between us, and towards the end of our dinner, I'm developing a lisper. Do you believe you attract evil spirits listening to this? I don't think so. I mean, we talked about that last time related to paranormal stories, and people have said that the weird stuff has happened when they've listened to those things, and it could be. I mean, I have no fucking clue. The world is so weird. Sometimes I'm like all, my mind kind of like jumps around. I'm materialistic in some ways in the sense that like the world is just kind of like electricity and fucking, I don't know, meat. But then other times I'm like, maybe there is some sort of like weird fucking paranormal world, and I'm more inclined to believe that there has to be in some degree, just because it kind of gives you almost a little bit of hope for like something beyond life. But I have no fucking clue. I mean, I hope these stories don't bring a bunch of bad things to you guys. That would be counterintuitive. Yeah, ghosts can catch these hands. They can catch this flaming sword. Beast Kid with the 5 says, good night, Joe. I enjoyed the stream. I'm tired. Good night. Hey, peace out, Beast Kid. Take it easy, my friend. Thanks for everything. Sally sold seashells by the seashore. Say it 3 times fast. Sally sold seashells by the seashore. 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 There never really was any bad blood between us. Towards the end of our dinner, fuck me, I can't say it. She suggested something. There never really was bad blood between us. Towards the end of our dinner, she suggested something that was extremely out of character for her. She suggested that we explore an abandoned church behind her new apartment. When we broke up last time, she moved out and moved into this small little spot in a small town roughly 15 minutes from where we used to live. Behind her small apartment was an extremely old church that was not in any kind of service anymore. She told me that she'd been looking at the building for a few days and nobody ever goes in or out and the building's empty. Her logic was that by doing something exciting and illegal, it would ignite some sort of spark in our relationship. I smiled and said, why not? It's the worst that could happen. When I was younger, I had done much worse stuff than this, so I wasn't nervous at all. We finished our dinner and drinks, and I drove her back to her apartment. We went upstairs and had another drink, and she claimed that she needed another drink to work up the courage to break into the church. I just kept laughing at her because I thought it was funny how nervous and gibbery. Oops, my umbrella with the 150. Thank you, my friend. These stories only bring good relaxation and distractions from the void. To me anyways. Well, that's good. Your roommate used to fart on your laptop. Was it like bare ass, or was it just like through their sweatpants or something? If ghosts exist, most of them would be pretty neat. I mean, most of us aren't wankers. Why would we turn into some after dying? Most ghosts who will haunt you they're boring. Yeah, I don't really get it though. It's just like it's weird. It's like you hear about the sort of spiritual realms of things, and it's like you got heaven, and then you got hell, right? I mean that's the typical sort of narrative. And then it's just like, well, what the fuck are ghosts? You know what I mean? They're just like they always seem like confused, even though they're like they scare people. They also seem kind of like confused. You know what I mean? Like like a zombie. You know, it's scary, but it also doesn't fucking know what it's doing. It's just kind of like meandering stupidly from like one brain to the next. You know, that's kind of the vibe I get from ghosts. Like that would be a weird world to exist in, just being stuck somewhere. You know. You see Casper? Unfinished business. Yeah, but how do you help them finish their business? Like, I just don't get that, you know? Because it seems like, if you're in heaven, you get it, you made it. If you're in hell, all right, that sucks, but you're there. But, like, what are you supposed to do in the in-between, you know? Like, it almost seems like you have, like, Alzheimer's, you know what I mean? Like, being a ghost seems like you have Alzheimer's, but you're, like, severely fucking confused, you know? And you don't even know if you're alive or dead, you just kind of exist in this weird plane of scary. I don't even know. Maybe I'm just making all this shit up. Sing happy birthday to you. We can sing on July 5th when it's your birthday. What is it? B Adam. I don't know what. Oh, interesting. Weird. Black Adam. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I wasn't really too excited for it either because I didn't really know what Black Adam is as a superhero. And I didn't really hear anything about it. Like, I've heard more about Avatar than I have Black Adam, so I just wasn't like, and I'm not like a huge superhero guy, anymore. In Catholicism, we're told everyone goes to purgatory before they can go to heaven or hell. Wait, so everyone goes to purgatory first? That's confusing, I feel like. Because isn't the whole thing of like salvation, like, you're just like good to go to like paradise or whatever? I don't know. It's the sad thing about being a ghost, not realizing you're dead. I mean, that would be I'm not saying that that's what happens, but because then there's also like Christians who would say that like ghosts are actually just like demons, like trying to trick you into thinking that there's only heaven or that there's some sort of in between. You know what I mean, or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, how the fuck can you even tell? You know what I mean? Like, who knows what the fuck's going on? All you can do in life is just kind of like try your goddamn best. I just kept laughing at her because I thought it was funny how nervous and jittery she was being. One drink turned into a couple of hours, a few glasses of wine, and some laughs. Finally, close to midnight, she finally asked the question in a shaky and nervous voice. Are you ready to go to the church? I jumped to my feet from the couch and said in a commanding voice, "Yes, ma'am." And she giggled, but I knew that she was not doing well. As she was putting on her shoes, I could see her hands shaking as she tried to tie the laces. I said to her, "We don't have to do this, I mean, I'm totally okay just hanging out here." After the short struggle of tying her shoes, she perked up and said, No way, no. We're doing this." And then barged out of the apartment. We slowly walked and made our way to the rundown church, which was way bigger than I thought it would be. I was picturing some small, like, colonial church or something, but this was one of those big, fancy-looking churches. The door opened with minimal effort. Obviously, it was completely pitch black inside, so we used our phone flashlights to look around. Objectively speaking, it was admittedly spooky in there. Churches in general can just be creepy by themselves, but anywhere abandoned after dark is just objectively even more so. To lighten the tension a little bit, I kept jumping and making boo noises to scare her. I laughed, and she would scream, but it was all playful. She was holding to my arm, and it was honestly kind of nice. I couldn't believe it. But I was starting to feel a little bit of an ignite there, you know what I mean? And she may have been right about this. We explored some of the back rooms, and the building was mostly just trashed and abandoned. Nothing of value or anything of that sort was left inside. The main room of the church was filled with church pews, and there was a small altar with a small broken table. There was a big wooden cross on the wall, but it looked like cheap plywood and nothing that would be worth any money. In some of the back rooms, there were some robes, old books, a bunch of papers, and that's pretty much it. Even the candles were gone. I'm sure this church was still owned by the Catholic religion. It was just very abandoned and not operational at all. When we arrived back in the main room after a little adventure, I mentally prepared to make my move on her. I was going to kiss her and see if she would reciprocate the gesture. I grabbed her hand, and right before the kiss, we heard a loud smash. We rapidly shot our phone lights in the direction. We saw nothing. Whatever that noise was, it scared us half to death. I looked at her and whispered, maybe we should head back to your place. She didn't answer me, though. Instead, she was frozen in fear. What is it? I said, still whispering. She didn't point, but with her eyes, that I could barely see in the low cell phone light, she gestured to the far side of the room and whispered, There's something over there. I promise you, I wish it was an evil spirit in the corner, because what was in that corner was infinitely scarier. A man, a real man, made his way out of the shadows and said in a stern voice, Get down right now and empty your pocket. That doesn't... It was a robber. I thought it was going to be a homeless dude, so I tried to make him sound gruff. Gruff. Do I think I could win a fight against a gorilla? No, I don't think so. A gorilla would fucking pound my head into a mush, rip my arms off, and then use it to pound me as well. Do I believe in the back rooms? I guess conceptually, if humanity can kind of just generate anything from its own mind, and enough of us believe in something, I think sometimes we can kind of create realities, even in like maybe other dimensions or something like that. So maybe we've inadvertently, through all of us, discussing it and talking about it, have created the back rooms in some weird way somewhere. And maybe one day you guys will no clip to there. Which serial killer would I want to be killed by the most? Maybe like John Wayne Gacy or something. Just like slowly being sat on and like crushed till you can't breathe anymore. Oh God, that'd be terrible. The more I hear about that guy, the more I think he's a real jerk. A man, a real man, made his way out of the... Fuck me, god damn it. A man, a real man, made his way out of the shadows and said in a stern voice, Get down right now and empty your pockets. She wasted no time, but I stupidly moved slow as I was trying to size this guy up to see if I had an advantage. While I was slowly moving to the ground, 2 more guys came from behind me and forced me to the ground very hard. She started crying, and I was pretty close to tears myself. Again, the man said, I'm not going to ask you again. Empty your pockets now. Neither of us had a wallet or money on us. I said to the guy in a frantic voice, Hey man, I don't have a wallet and she doesn't have her purse, man. I was at a loss for words. I tried to think of a way to defuse the situation, but my mind was just completely blank. All 3 of these men had some sort of weapon, but it was too dark to make any of them out. I'm not a religious man, but laying in this church, I was praying to get out of this alive. The men huddled around me and had some conversation that I couldn't hear. They were wearing face masks, so I couldn't make out the details, and one guy had a massive beard that stuck out from his mask, and another guy had a tattoo of a flower on his hand, and those were the only two features I could make out. While the men were deliberately... Oh my god. Y'all ever pop some vagina for store credit at Kohl's? Hell yeah. I go wild for Kohl's cash. Hey Joel, big fan, but curious, can you just place a McDonald's order in your voice? I want to hear it in a serious tone. Sure. Yeah. I'll take one Big Mac, double patty, a 50-piece chicken McNug, with a large Diet Dr. Pepper, and a McFlurry. I know you only have one size, but I swear to God, you better put it in one of the extra large cups. Super size me, Daddy. What? Your ice cream machine's closed? No, I don't think it is. You would fight Jack the Ripper to the death? I think most people would probably fight back, you know? I don't think anybody would find them a situation like, well, I guess I'm dying. Sure has been a fun ride. While the men were deliberating about whatever they were talking about, my ex-girlfriend did something that still has me shook to this day. She got up and ran. The men were shocked by this action and had a delayed reaction to it, and two of the men chased her, leaving me alone with just one guy. I could see that his attention was focused on them running, so I jumped up and tackled the guy to the ground. I got up as fast as I could and sprinted as well. When I ran through the front doors, I saw that she was way, way in the distance and nearly out of sight, and the two robbers were walking toward the front door as if though they'd just given up, breathing. When they saw me running, they tried to jump back into fight mode, but luckily, I was too fast and I still had energy, so I was able to sprint by them. My adrenaline was pumping like insane. I caught up to her in just a few minutes, and we caught our breath together at a gas station down the road. We called the police right away. Well, we had the gas station employee call the police since we had dropped our phones in the church and made a statement and told them everything. They were surprisingly cool about the whole breaking in thing and didn't write that detail down in the report. When they went back to the church, obviously those robbers were gone, and they didn't take our phones for some reason. They were still sitting on the floor of the church with the flashlights on when the cops arrived. Maybe they thought that they could track it if they'd... I'm gonna murder the food. Goddamn right I am. I'm gonna cannibalize that shit. God, I wouldn't mind some Mickey D's right now, to be honest with you. They were still sitting on the floor of the... Oh, yeah. Jesse, you better run while you can, Jesse. Maybe they thought that they could be tracked if they stole it, but I'm not entirely sure. The most haunting detail about this entire story is what the cops told us a few days after our initial report. The lot that separated her apartment and the church had several cameras. In the video footage from that night, as soon as we walked out the back door from her apartment building, the men came from three different directions. The lot that separated her apartment and the church had several cameras. In the video footage from that night, as soon as we walked out the back door from her apartment building, the men came from 3 different directions and began following us. Maybe it was the drinks that we had that night that made us oblivious, but we had no... Fuck. Maybe it was the drinks that we had that night that made us oblivious, but we had no idea people were behind us. When we made our way into the church, they entered almost right away behind us. The fact that they waited that long to make their move on us still gives me chills. And the fact that they were hiding basically in plain sight, I'll never forget. They never did catch those creeps, at least at the time of me writing this, and ever since that night, I'm always looking intently at hand tattoos to see if I can recognize the flower tattoo. And this goes to show you, you never know who could be hiding right in front of you. You got a piece of pizza from the fridge? Did you bring enough for all 666 of us? You're gonna have to cut it into really, really tiny slices to share. Little slivers. Little strips of gum, but it's pizza. So they didn't get back together. I don't fucking know. You think that would have been like one of the important things to conclude on that whole build-up, but I guess not. Can I run to the bathroom real quick and be back? And we'll finish this last story. You guys will get to see the be right back screen. I'm sorry, my nature calls, as they say. I'll be right back. Please don't leave. I'm back. Lay off the fiber, I know. How much for a jar of poop? You accept cash? Just a jar of it. Came back at the same time. Joel's soul leaving his body while pooping. Joel going into massive cramps in the middle of the stream. Wow. Did I wipe properly? I really don't think it's a proper wipe unless somebody does it for you. Because you can't really see, you know what I mean? Unless you had like one of those snake cameras that they put into pipes. Yeah, I can fucking... I floated down here. I'm a ghost now, because I shit so much. I grab a snack. I should have. Damn. I should have, just to get ready for the next poop. Just to prepare for the next show. You should say bong. Bing bong. I think I did bing bong pretty recently. What were you reading? This is the last story of the date night stuff. Please make merch of the Be Right Back screen. Yeah, I might have to do that. I wish Robin would come into the streams. It was kind of nice to just like, yeah, say skill issue at the end. And remember, skill issue. Okay. But days. Should I join the channel? Hey, Pradeep, how are you? You could if you want bonus content, bro. All right. My baby loves your voice. It helps her fall asleep better than her sound machine. That's awesome. Somebody else mentioned about their baby sleeping to my voice. So let's go, dude. Let's get all those babies to sleep. Let's just get them in the line. It's fucking nap time. I love my wife very much. We've been happily married for almost 10 years now, and we also have 2 beautiful children. We were high school sweethearts and attended college together. We planned on going our separate ways after high school, but we just kept finding our way back to each other. We even tried to see other people in college, but life just kept putting us together, and I couldn't be happier. But enough of the sappy stuff, because unfortunately the story I'm going to tell you today is the opposite of sappy, and honestly the scariest thing that's ever happened to me or my family. One of the things that has kept my wife and I going strong all these years is just an overall very healthy relationship. Once a week we have a date night where we have done everything from dinner and a movie to midnight sledding and everything in between. It was one of these date nights that we encountered Caitlin. Now let me first say, I respect all people's beliefs, whether it's religion, science, paranormal, or whatever it may be, but that does not mine. Let's go. Pradeep is in the chat. I was wondering where he is. He went and got on his iPad. Can I do an Australian accent? Well, I suppose we can do a bit of a Kiwi. This is how Kiwis talk, I guess, a little bit. Australia, you know, what Australia is a little bit faster, you know, bro. It's kind of bullshit sometimes, the things that they do. They go a little wild, talk a bit of shit, do a little dance tonight. That's not very good. Whatever, I don't care anymore. Pradeep's midnight sledding. Whether it's religion, science, paranormal, or whatever it may be, but that doesn't mean that I believe it as well. You see, my wife and I are very skeptical people. It's one of the things that's brought us close together all these years ago in school, and because of this, we usually keep these opinions to ourselves so we don't offend anyone. On this date night, however, perhaps we had a tad too much to drink, but our true feelings of a certain subject happened to just... fuck. Sorry. The I needs to be like oi. Oi. Oi, oi. Oi, oi. A little bit of skill issue, eh, love? I don't know if they say eh, love. Oh, yeah, the humidifier. Forgot about that shit. Are you supposed to put your face directly into the humidification? Or is that bad for you? I'm just like breathing in aerosolized mold, probably. The mold's taking over! The mold! Ah! It's making me smarter. You come to the conclusion Americans can't tell the difference between Australian and Palmy accents. Are Palmies the people from New Zealand? Or is that people from British town? I mean, people can, but I'm not very good at it. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to break into a voice that I don't really practice or really care to practice. Palmies are English. Okay, yeah, makes sense. There is a solution you're supposed to add to the water of humidifiers to prevent various funk before it gets funky. Whether it's religion, science, paranormal, or whatever it may be, but that doesn't mean that I believe it as well. You see, my wife and I are very skeptical people. It's one of the things that brought us together all those years in school, and because of this, we usually keep these opinions to ourselves so we don't offend anyone. On this date night, however, perhaps we had a tad too much to drink, but our true feelings on certain subject matter happened to slip out, and it very much offended our server for the evening, Caitlin. The night started great. We had an amazing meal, great drinks, and great service. She was good at her job. When she brought me back my card after paying the bill, she sat at the table, which was kind of strange, but I've seen that happen a bunch of times before, and looked at my wife and said, God, some of this grammar is so fucking bad. What happens if you would put piss in the humidifier? Well, I guess I'm about to find out. There's shit in there, too. Aerosolized jankum. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. The jankum. It's too hard. When she brought me back my I can't read this fucking sentence. When she brought me back my card after paying the bill, she sat at the table, which was kind of strange, but I've seen that happen a bunch of times before, and looked at my wife and I and said, What are your signs, guys? You guys look so compatible. Again, no disrespect, but astrological signs and all that stuff mean literally nothing to me. In a situation like this, I would usually just smile and kind of go along with the person, but for some reason, instead of acting like a decent human being, I just chuckled and said, It's all crap. Our signs don't mean anything. My wife looked shocked that I said that out loud and just grabbed my hands as if to tell me to watch what I'm saying. Caitlin looked not only surprised, but angry. She turned her head and looked at me and said, Oh, really? It's crap? Well, I think I know what sign you are then. I continue to laugh for some reason. As I write this, I'm cringing at how I handled it. I was a jerk to this poor girl just because I didn't believe in her religion or whatever they want to call it. I stood up and grabbed my coat, and in a very dismissive voice I said, "You don't know my sign because you don't know my birthday. And even if you did, my birthday doesn't make me a good or bad person. So thank you for everything tonight, and good night." When we started to push our chairs in and walk out, Caitlin slammed the table, so hard that she knocked over the water glass on the table and said, "You know, I hate people like you. You're toxic to society." I just looked at her, smiled like the antagonizing jerk I was being, and said, "Well, this toxic person just left you a massive tip, so why don't you have some respect and have a good night?" I didn't like at all how that night ended. I hated being confronted with something I didn't believe, and I hated even more how I handled the situation and how I acted. Not one of our better date nights. That night, my wife and I stayed at a hotel that was connected to the restaurant. We weren't far from home, maybe 20 minutes or so, but we tried once a month. Bill Nye, the science gynecologist. Joel can't complain about the grammar. His tweets could use some. Oh my god, that's low. Dude, if you've seen other people's tweets, that would be funny if you were like forced to have like nice punctuation and grammar in your tweet. "And that is why I think this person should die a terrible and painful death. Period." We weren't far from home, maybe 20 minutes or so, but we tried once a month on date night to stay somewhere without the kids, the benefits of having retired parents. We joked about Caitlin that evening and had a pretty good laugh about it. When we woke up in the morning, I had several missed calls from my mom and a text message that said, "Don't worry, everyone is fine, but call me right away." Definitely not a great text to wake up to. When I called my mom back, she said that she was with the kids and she couldn't talk, but she would send me a picture and then talk to me when I got home later that morning. The picture message was a broken window in my son's room. It was a brick with a piece of paper taped to the brick, and all the paper said was what the fuck? It was a brick with a piece of paper taped to the brick, and all the paper said, paper. It was a brick with a piece of paper taped to... God fucking damn it. It was a brick with a piece of paper taped to the brick, and all the paper said was, "What sign are you?" I was enraged. If you don't use proper grammar on Twitter, you immediately dissolve. You should. That should be a real penalty. What's up, David? What are you up to? You and that severed ear. I wonder if did the real David Lynch, did he actually sever his ear like a Picasso situation? Or was that Van Gogh? I was enraged and told my parents to call the authorities right away. I went right into the restaurant and demanded to speak to Caitlin's manager, who was incredibly dismissive of the entire situation. Caitlin wasn't there, and the manager was some young guy who could care less about this potentially dangerous person who threw a brick through my window, and not only just my window, but one of my kids' windows. The managers just kept shrugging it off and saying, "I don't know what you want me to do, dude. Caitlin's not here today, and even if she was, you have no proof that she did it, so just call the police and kindly leave my restaurant." My poor wife. She was already a nervous wreck, and she had to listen to me scream and cuss the entire 20-minute drive home. The cops were there when we arrived, already talking to my parents, and I explained to them the story of the night before, and they almost didn't believe it. But they did and said that they would investigate. I was not thrilled with that response, as now I believed my family was actually in danger. The cops unfortunately said the same thing that the manager said about not having any real evidence, and at this point it was just he said, she said. I was livid, and not okay with this. My wife and kids went to my parents' house, and I stayed home in our home. Fucking Christ. See, guys, this is the dangers of astrology. This is what it makes you do to people. I've warned you for years, and now these astrological terrorists have finally manifested in one of my stories. If only you would have heeded my warning. In fact, Caitlin is probably a subscriber. I was livid and not okay with this. My wife and the kids went to my parents' house, and I stayed alone in our house, which I realized was a terrible idea, but I wanted the evidence that everybody kept talking about. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in my living room playing Call of Duty, and at around 2 a.m. is when I heard a truck shut off outside. I turned my TV off and crept to the door and put my ear to it. I could hear movement outside, and it wasn't just one person. With all the lights off in my house, I could see outside the window, and I saw two shadowy figures creep by. One smaller, one leading the way, and... Whoops. One smaller one leading the way, and another taller, skinny one in the back. I followed their silhouettes all the way around the house to the backyard. Once in the backyard, I heard footsteps on the back porch and then all the way to the door. It took me this entire time to use my head and actually call the police, but I finally did it, and was able to whisper the situation without giving away my presence to the potential intruders. As I waited anxiously for the next move, it finally happened. They started to turn the doorknob, and then shake it once they realized it was locked. I was crippled in fear as to what I could do if they got in. I heard a lot of whispering, but I couldn't make out any words or if the whispers were actually male or female. Thankfully, the clippity-clops were close. Thankfully, the cops were close, and before I knew it, the lights from the cop car illuminated the entire front of the house, which flooded to the back. I heard a female voice scream something about being toxic, and then the footprints sprinted away. I ran out of the front door and told the police that the intruders fled out the back and were running that way, and apparently they had a car patrolling, but they weren't able to catch them. The cops investigated, but there was literally nothing they could do, as they said. At least, that's what I was told, and it felt like they were completely useless. I believe those 2 nights I was terrorized was by Caitlin and that manager from the restaurant. I, of course, can't prove it 100%, but all the clues added up. Thankfully, this is the last interaction I had with that psychopath or anybody else trying to break into my home, but unfortunately nothing ever happened legally. I know the ending isn't satisfying, but sometimes life just isn't that way. I've since moved and I've never gone back to that restaurant, and trust me when I say that I never will. My wife and I still have date night, but nothing will ever be as nightmarish or toxic as that weekend. Astrological terrorists have infiltrated our base. We must defeat them. Me's, good to see ya. You love me 1 milli. A milli. I'm a millionaire. Add you on MySpace. Does MySpace still exist? Does it even still exist? Alright, friends, I'm going to read the outro script. I have another yoke. Why did the man open a bakery? Because he needed to make some dough. That's why girls love a man. Wait, no. How does it go? Oh, that's why girls love the Pillsbury Doughboy, because he's made out of dough. He's made of dough. Alright, anyways. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and super fun live streams on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights. Meow. I got one. You know what it's like to eat at Five Guys? Wait, what is it? I got one. You know who likes to eat at Five Guys? Jeffrey Dahmer. I've seen him there. I seen it. Yeah, when the live's over, Pradeep has to give back the iPad. Do I look like Dream? Not quite. I don't know, it's so weird to me, like, I get it that he's like one of the most subscribed to and watched channels and stuff, but I mean, it's just like so strange to me that a guy that plays, I mean, myself included, I'm not that exciting, but I'm just saying, like, in the conventional sense of like popularity within YouTube, it's just strange to think that a guy who plays Minecraft, you know, just a silly Legos game, is so wildly relevant within the spectrum of pop culture conversation. You know what I mean? Like I feel like at some point, like, the Pentagon has to be briefed on, like, who is this Dream character? Why has he got so much influence? Well, you see, sir, he plays a silly game on his Xbox. They do Minecraft Manhunt, sir. Where he chases him around and he has to beat the Ender Dragon before they get him. Interesting. Well, maybe I'll subscribe and check it out tonight. And like the head of the CIA is just laying there with like wearing like a onesie, like eating popcorn, like Dream is so funny. Him and his friends, they have to Dream SMP and Tommy, and it's sometimes it's so funny. Like, they say this silly shit, and they showed his face, and everyone thought he was a fucking monster. You're gonna unsub if I don't get you. Oh, I'll get you an iPad. Everyone gets an iPad. You get an iPad. You get an iPad. Joel, the iPad is on 5%. God damn it, Pradeep. Please plug that in. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there are some super fun live streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night. You should come check it out. And if you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit at r/letsreadofficial, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, and they're located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links are in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, what would I say? What should I say, friends? And remember, what should you guys remember? Get an iPad, and you get an iPad, and you get an iPad. Oh yeah, skill issue. Is there anything else that goes along with the skill issue part, though? Thanks so much, friends, and remember, skill issue. The only reason he didn't kill more is because it was a skill issue. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, astrology no, I do kind of want to say something like astrologists are terrorists, but I feel like then they would come and kill me in real life, actually, because it's kind of what they do. They're murderers. Your birthday's wrong! Prepare to die! This is fine, though, because I'm just a silly Capri Sun. We kill people. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, skill issue. Joel is such a Jimanui. Astrologists discover the sun. Oh, that's a good point. They found it. Nobody else could see it until they pointed it out. Hey, what's that thing up there? I've been staring at it for a fucking hour. It hurts. It hurts my head. Huh? Oh, I've never looked up at that. It's so bright. What is that? I think it's important. I'm gonna call it the sun, because it's hotter than the fucking sun out. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm ready to eat your pizza soup, everyone. Well, guys, thank you again for an amazing stream. We almost went 4 hours. That was way longer than expected, but yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for all the support, the new members joining the Buttersuck cult and getting access to bonus content. Appreciate you for all the support as well and kind words tonight. You guys are a lot of fun, as usual. But I will go ahead and get this edited up and ready to rock and roll for $1 a month over on Patreon. You can get early access to it, and then I'll get it up on YouTube tonight. No, that's 2 in the morning at 7 p.m. EST. Same time, same place. So stay tuned for that. Hope you got some fun plans for the weekend. I'll be back Sunday evening, so follow me on Twitter. And just hit the notification bell in general. I think you got to do some settings on your phone as well just to be notified when new shit goes up. But be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single frickin' thing. You got to get it. You got to have it. You need it. And if you don't, I will cry because I know you won't be here. I'll sense it. I'll be like, where's Ticklebutt? Ticklebutt didn't hit that bell. We'll do it right now. You don't want to be like Ticklebutt. So, all right. Love you, friends. We'll see you again. Sleep well, or wherever you are in the world. Just have a gosh dang good one. Okay. Goodbye.